Tonight's episode of the Tuesday Night Cigar Club is brought to you by Drew Estate. Come experience the rebirth of cigars at www.drewestate.com and download the free Drew Diplomat smartphone app today to discover nearby retailers, RSVP to special events, redeem points to win exclusive Drew Estate merchandise, and much, much more.
Mistake, but I'm having too much fun to wait. Flag her down when she comes back by. That one's yours and this one's mine. Bring another round. 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 Bring another round.
Here's the suckers.
Good evening, brothers and sisters of the Leaf. Coming to you live once again from, well, all over the fucking place. It's the Tuesday Night Cigar Club. Tonight the boys congregate via live video. Thanks coronavirus, you giant asshole, to talk their way through the 1982 dystopian action film Turkey Shoot, aka Escape 2000, aka Blood Camp Thatcher. Man, this movie has more names than Puff Daddy. And speaking of Puff, the fellas' faces are going to be puffy as hell tomorrow morning after they get drunk on a plethora of craft beers while smoking the Daniel Marshall by Carlos Fuente 38th Anniversary Limited Edition cigar. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. Whatever the hell that means. So, sit back, folks, light 'em up, and enjoy the show.
Oh, that's not a bad beer. Boys, do y'all know what rednecks do for Thanksgiving?
Fried turkey.
No.
Okay.
Anybody else?
No.
The correct answer is pumpkin. Pumpkin.
Please tell me that's the only joke you've got this evening?
I don't like it.
You boys have
It isn't. You've got more jokes, don't you?
No, I don't. Did you boys have a nice Thanksgiving?
I did. How was yours?
Mine was okay. It sucked, we couldn't see all our family like we usually do. My mom's, what the fuck is Tud? Is he eating leftovers?
No, I'm gonna put my candle up
during the show.
I got my mood candle up. Trying to recover from Thanksgiving. I just want to get into the little ambience right there.
Let's see how that candle will interfere with the aroma from tonight's cigar. Tut's an expert. He knows what he's doing. But yeah, we couldn't have the big family like we usually do. My mother's married to an Italian fellow, so it's usually Thanksgiving, Christmas dinners are a big gathering of folks. So that sucked that we couldn't do that. But for the first year ever, I held Thanksgiving dinner at my house. So,
oh yeah.
Well, it sucked that it was such a limited small group.
Yeah.
It was kind of fucking awesome that I had some say in the menu for once. You know what that means, Yaks?
Turkey?
No fucking green bean casserole.
Oh.
For the first time in 4 decades, I did not have to stare at that gross shit on the table at Thanksgiving. We've talked about here on the show my absolute hatred for green bean casserole. And finally, it was eradicated from my holiday. It was a beautiful thing.
Don't you bring that casserole up in here.
You anti-casserole bastard.
Some conniving bastard, yes, that's a good word, Yak. Some conniving bastard did smuggle in one of those cranberry logs when I wasn't looking. But I don't know who it was yet. I'm going to deal with that in due time. Payback's a bitch, motherfuckers.
We had my girl made a sweet potato pie casserole, and when she makes sweet potato pie casserole, it comes out damn good. And then she surprised me, apple cobbler, homemade from scratch, and it was, oh man, I gained like 6 pounds just from looking at it. That's a lie. I ate it. That's why I gained 6 pounds.
Was it just the two of y'all?
Yeah.
How'd she surprise you? How didn't you see that going down in the kitchen?
Because I was actually in the room studying all day. I mean, I've literally been in the room with the door shut, just going nuts on it. And I can't smell anything.
I thought you were going to say something cool, like you were outside drinking bourbon and smoking stogies all day while the woman was inside making the apple cobbler.
No, not at all.
Another advantage of having it at my house, I could drink as much as I wanted and not have to worry about driving home.
That is true.
Big advantage.
Yeah, so that was really nice. Yeah, and sorry about that. Whoever brought that cranberry log, I just said some really harsh words there, and I should probably relax a little bit. I'm sorry. Let me just take a cleansing breath before we start the show. Do you boys know why green beans meditate? To find inner peace. Yaks, that was it. No more jokes, I promise.
You're lying. You're lying to me. It's okay.
Pumpkin.
I've accepted it.
Pumpkin. Welcome, everybody, to the Tuesday Night Cigar Club post-Thanksgiving episode 129. I'm your host, Matt Acade. I'm here safe and sound, as always, in the corner of no hope, and I'm very thankful that all of you lovable, messed up Looney Tunes out there on the interwebs choose to hang out with us for a couple of hours every other week. And now that Thanksgiving is over, we can start watching Christmas movies, right, guys?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
I think the coast is clear. We can dive in.
That's the way it works.
Doctor, the other day, we were talking, he revisited the first 3 Die Hard flicks. Everybody always likes putting Die Hard on their favorite Christmas movie list, which it's well deserved. I think Die Hard 2 should be right up there too. It captures the spirit of holiday travel just as good as planes, trains, and automobiles.
I mean, come on, John Amos. He ain't no slouch.
John Amos, William Sadler. Who else, Doc? Who's the?
Oh man, you got the senator, the Fred. What's his name?
Fred Dalton Thompson.
Yeah, Fred Thompson.
Dennis Franz.
Dennis Franz as the airport police chief. And in a tiny role that almost unrecognizable because he trimmed down and lost a little weight, but one of the henchmen, one of Sadler's henchmen.
I know who it is.
Is none other than Meat from the Porky's movies.
That's right. He's
right.
He's the one who gets Willis shoves an icicle through his eye socket, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And by the way, on another note, the doctor discovered recently, you're welcome, that all 3 Porky's movies are now on Amazon Prime.
That
Are those Christmas movies?
No.
It should be.
It's a present to yourself if you watch them.
But that's a Christmas to you listeners from the doctor. Merry Christmas.
Season's greetings.
You know, me and the doctor were talking, and we were like, remember that scene in Die Hard 2 where he gets trapped in that plane on the ground and they're throwing all those grenades in it? So he straps himself into the pilot seat and injects himself out of the plane and it parachutes. And as you see him flying up, he does the typical, but it's one of the very first classic, meh. And we were like, do you think he like when he did Color of Night and it was time for him to climax in that sex scene, do you think he went to the director and was like, hey, I picked up a little something on the Die Hard 2 set. What do you think about this? Whoa! I was like, man, it's a choice. Let's try it.
Experience here. It was another time I was involved in an explosion. I can handle this, all right? No!
Whoa!
Get the feeling like there was probably at least 15, 20 takes, but he just kept doing that same reaction. All right, we could just have you tone it down. Just, oh!
Maybe just like a subtle groan as you finish lovemaking. I got your subtle groan. Whoa! If you have not watched our Color of Night episode, please Seek that one out. That was a fun one. It was basically 2 hours of us doing that. Making Bruce Willis orgasm noises. And it's as good as it.
CD, which would make for a nice stocking stuffer.
It's as good. Yeah. Doctor, are you remixing that CD? Is it going to be out by Christmas?
It may very well be, but I'm holding out for the box set.
Oh, okay. Is it Willis doing Christmas songs with the mixed into like the songs?
I mean, it could be something like that. Yeah. Deck the
house.
I saw mommy. Whoa!
Frosty the Snowman was a very jolly ho! It's 57 minutes of that.
Hey, put me down for 2 copies, pal.
Like I said, they make for wonderful stocking stuffers.
I'll stuff your stocking, honey.
Now we're kind of venturing into Dice Clay territory a little bit there.
That was a little too dicey. What is your favorite Christmas movie? I'm curious.
Oh, for me, it's got to be hands down National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I mean, there's a lot of good ones. There's some that are more family-oriented fare, and then there's obviously some where you can go to like a Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 if you're in that kind of mood, which is obviously a wonderful movie. But man, for me, it's all about Clark Griswold. I loved that movie when I first saw it in the theater when I was a kid, and I still love it. I'm
with you, buddy. That's my favorite, hands down. Christmas Story, a not so distant second, but it's National Lampoon's all the way. Yak Boy?
Oh no, it's definitely Vacation.
Okay.
I am a fan of Christmas Story, but I like it to be on that day where they just show it continuously for 24 hours, and I just leave it on. It's the background of my whole day.
Also directed by the director of Porky's, Bob Clark.
Yep.
How's that for filmography?
Everything comes full circle.
Whoa!
So then I guess that does make Porky's a Christmas movie.
Sort of, yeah. Tut, you were not in agreement, Christmas Vacation. Is it unanimous?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's unanimous, as it should be.
Well, we will be doing a Christmas movie for our last episode of the year, and I'm very excited about that. Like a squirrel getting his nuts squeezed. That's a hint for you at home to try to figure out what that movie is. I'm very, very excited, and Doctor, I know you are too. Well, tonight, guys and gals, we're going to be once again talking about reviewing a premium cigar while drinking some delicious craft beer and talking our way through a movie. But I want to get to the cigar right up front and center because we've never quite had a cigar like this on the show before. And I'm really kind of thankful that we got our hands on these. So I want to kind of start the show with it. It is our, what is the word I'm looking for, Doctor? A fancy word for the star of the show.
The resistance.
No, see, I was going to say piece de resistance. I don't think that's right. Reason d'etre. Reason for being.
All of those work, so long as they're pronounced correctly.
Which none of those were. How about I just call it the star of the show?
That works.
Yeah. Okay. Tonight's cigar is the Daniel Marshall by Carlos Fuente 38th anniversary cigar. If you're on YouTube, Tut is holding a very blurry version of it up to his camera. Yak Boys is not much cleaner. Let's see if I can. A little bit there. It smells like graham crackers, especially the foot. Smell that foot, Todd. It's graham cracker. It is a 6 3/8 by 52.
Yeah, it is graham cracker.
Torpedo. It's a Dominican Puro, Dominican Republic wrapper, binder, and filler.
All right.
Now, bear with me, guys, because this is a very special cigar, and I want to, because we were gifted these cigars by Mr. Daniel Marshall. I want to do it some justice. So let me give you the little backstory here. Daniel Marshall and Carlos Fuente, entrepreneurs and friends, introduced the Daniel Marshall 38th anniversary cigar at the Daniel Marshall Cigar Lounge in, Yax, can you help me with this pronunciation? Kitzbühel, Austria? Kitzbuhel? Kitzbühel.
Kitzbühel.
Kitzbühel, Australia, back in February of this year. This jewel of a cigar honors and symbolizes their 38 years of friendship. In speaking on their collaboration, Fuente told Marshall, keep in mind, this is Fuente, the biggest name in cigars. I want to do something for you very, very special. I'm making a cigar for you, which I do for no one, to commemorate our long friendship and my highest respect and admiration for you and your story. It's an honor to be able to participate with you on this special anniversary. I poured my heart into every detail, hoping to make you proud. I will give you my best. That's high praise.
Yeah. Coming from a craftsman like that.
Yeah. That was high praise for himself. But you know what I mean. He's hyping this thing up pretty good. Fuente and Marshall, two creative minds from the world of quality, luxury, and cigars, worked 3 years on this extremely limited edition cigar. On January 23rd, 2020, following dinner and a live auction, guests made their way to the Daniel Marshall Cigar Lounge and Terrace to enjoy the Daniel Marshall 38 cigar for the very first time. With stunning 360-degree panoramic views, the massive heated and tinted terrace at the Kitzbühel Country Club created the perfect setting for the modern day campfire. A party, by the way, that we were fucking invited to. Early in the year, we got an email from Daniel Marshall inviting us to this party where, oh yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger was hanging out in this tent. And we couldn't pull it together in 2 weeks' notice, and we didn't have any money. And
well, let's be real about this.
I'm being totally real. We didn't have the money, and we just couldn't.
But you were invited.
We were invited, and it looked like a goddamn blast. I got to tell you,
It's okay. I remember looking at the photos on Facebook, and yeah, I mean, I wasn't that disappointed.
These girls going around these low-cut blouses with these cigar boxes for everybody, and Arnold and Daniel loving life. I'm sure it would have been okay.
Oh, we would have been bored. I mean, we wouldn't have known anybody. I mean,
and to know what the it's true, we wouldn't have known anybody. But you know what? Maybe Arnold didn't know anybody really either, so we would have like gone outside and he would have just been sitting there.
Yeah, that's exactly what he would have been doing.
Yeah.
I would have made friends.
Doc makes friends wherever he goes.
Yeah. After some of those Austrian schnapps, I would have made a bunch of friends, I'm sure.
At least for an hour.
Well, the modern day campfire is a reoccurring theme with Daniel. It's something he really believes in. If you want to know more about that, search our interview with Daniel on a previous podcast, where he really talks about the modern campfire, bringing people together around a cigar and kind of that bond of unity that only a cigar can bring. Let me continue. The Daniel Marshall by Carlos Fuente 38th anniversary cigar. And yes, I believe it is the longest name for a cigar we've ever had on the show. Will be made available to collectors at select worldwide Daniel Marshall campfire events, and then allocated to 38 of the world's top tobacconists and iconic hotels, representing one location for every year Marshall has been a part of the cigar world. 38 years he started his journey in cigars, so that's the 38th anniversary. It also ties in with his friendship with Fuente. It also ties in 38 years ago is the birth of his daughter, Julia. 38 is a very important number to Daniel, so that's where we got to here. The rare DM Fuente cigar can be collected from Japan, Hong Kong, South Africa, London, France, Belgium, Germany, Dubai, Qatar, and for a limited time in the United States. Marshall will be hosting his signature modern-day campfire events at each of the 38 international destinations. It's going to be a busy guy once this COVID thing settles down. This unprecedented alliance between Marshall and Fuente is an homage to friendship. Daniel and Carlos have spent their entire adult lives in the cigar world. Daniel says this: Carlos and I grew up together from boys to men, sharing similar values, commitment to quality, and an unrelenting quest for the best. What joins us together, the golden thread that runs through our veins and drives us to live our dreams, is a commitment to create in all we do a richness of character and a generosity of spirit. Man, I wish I could say some inspiring shit like that.
You just did.
Yeah, but I was reading his words. That was poetic. Someday I will.
I was about to say, I put
You can
that
picture
back
him
in my
saying-
head. I was like, man, you know what? I need to live like a generosity in spirit. That sounds nice.
I don't have nearly enough generosity in my spirit. To prove it, I almost didn't share these cigars with you guys. I almost smoked them all myself. That is not generosity of spirit.
No, that goes really against the letter of the thing.
It does. It is the antithesis of the campfire. I just want to smoke these by myself in the dark. Longevity is a common theme between Marshall and Fuente, as 2020 marks important milestones for both men. Like I said, it's the 38th year 38 years since Daniel founded his first workshop in California, where he began creating luxury humidors for Alfred Dunhill of London. And 2020 also commemorates, get this, the 25th anniversary of the first DM cigar and the 25th anniversary of the iconic Fuente Opus X cigar.
Oh, okay.
That's, one of the most popular cigars ever made. So there you go. And it's also the 108th anniversary of Fuente, of Arturo Fuente. Each cigar is crafted by one artisan. There's only one roller who makes these cigars, which usually you see it's a minimum of two people. One person makes these at Chateau de la Fuente. He only rolls 12 cigars a day. I say he, it could be a she, I don't know. But they only roll 12 of these things a day. It's blended with tobaccos up to 12 years old and then aged a minimum, as all Daniel Marshalls are, of 1 year in a special cedar vault. Marshall emphasized that the DM 38th anniversary by Carlos Fuentes are precious. They represent everything I look for in a cigar: effortless draw, rich and smooth taste, a cigar that comes alive. I told Carlos, with this cigar, I'm torn. Half of me wants to light it and half of me wants to eat it. And Fuente responded, brother, it's good enough to eat. And I'll admit, I got drunk the other night. I almost ate one, but I didn't. The super premium 38th anniversary is made in one Vitola, Torpedo, a classic favorite of both Marshall and Fuente. The pyramid shape is treasured because the tapered head allows the complex flavors of the cigar to marry in the mouth. In this coveted jewel, you can taste time. God, it's nice writing. I actually wrote that last description sentence. In this coveted jewel, you can taste time. I wrote that. Well, I typed it. I was reading it off their press release, but I typed it. How's that for a fucking press release? Am I right?
That's good.
You excited?
I am excited.
Well, here's the catch. I'm getting these bad boys. Because you at home are probably asking if these three boys like it, how the hell do I get one? Well, I'll tell you. The cigar is not intended for individual sale, but instead will be sold as a complete package with the Daniel Marshall limited edition desk travel humidor, which is handcrafted, as all Daniel stuff is, from, is it Macassar ebony? Yaks, the wood, Macassar?
I believe so.
Okay. This set will come with the following items: 7 Daniel Marshall by Carlos Fuente 38th anniversary cigars, like we're smoking tonight. 1 Daniel Marshall by Carlos Fuente anniversary cigar covered in 24 karat gold leaf, hand rolled by Marshall himself. That's the gold cigar that Daniel's famous for, that I couldn't finagle any of those for us. Sorry. All right. I got 5 and I smoked them all. I'm sorry. I got to work on this generosity thing. 1 additional Daniel Marshall by Carlos Fuente 38th anniversary cigar that is to be tasted when you join him on a virtual campfire with Daniel. So you can zoom in to a virtual campfire. And I got to tell you, if you're sitting around for 2 hours smoking a cigar, there's nobody in the world, short of Arnold Schwarzenegger maybe, which I don't know because I've never hung out with the dude. Daniel is just a storyteller, a gentleman. I think I may have said this on the last show we interviewed him and made him really awkward. I told him I think I really wish he was my dad. It got weird. But you feel the same way. You feel the same way, Tut. The guy is just a treasure.
He's a beautiful presence in the room.
He is. I love that guy. You also get one copy of 38 Years, a 110-page commemorative book autographed by Daniel Marshall, complimentary membership in the Daniel Marshall's Campfire Club, where you'll receive, members only, a cigar cutter, a torch lighter, aluminum travel ashtray, along with an issue of Daniel Marshall Quarterly Magazine. What other cigar guy has his own quarterly magazine? Hey, I could do that. That'd be classy. Matt Cade Quarterly.
It's got a nice ring to it.
Doc, I'm going to let you editor-in-chief, pal.
I got too much on my hands.
Damn it.
Feel like it'd be more of a small pamphlet.
You're saying from the quarter to quarter, I don't really do much different. Well, in the fall, I go to jogger pants. And then as winter approaches, I tend to go to sweatshirts. And then as spring comes, I go back to shorts, T-shirts.
I don't mean to put
That
a rush on the
covers
flow,
the
but
fashion section.
we're eventually going to get to smoke this, right?
I'm almost done, Ted. The price for the set will range between $1,500 and $2,000 US, depending on the country where it's purchased. Each humidor is individually numbered, and consumers will have the opportunity to reserve a specific number if they so wish. But here's the thing, some of those numbers are already taken. Such as number 17 was reserved by TV personality Steve Harvey. I don't know why 17, but these make more sense. Number 99 was reserved by legendary hockey player Wayne Gretzky.
No.
Number 1, he gave to big time, lifelong cigar fan, actor Andy Garcia. And number 23, of course, for Michael Jordan.
Sounds about right.
That sounds about right. I reserved the number 69.
Of course you do.
As that's my favorite number.
How many of them are there again?
It does not specify.
Oh, okay.
If I were him, as long as people were ordering these things, I'd keep making them.
I heard that. Limited edition.
Yeah. I mean, I think anything under $1 million's limited, right?
Is now.
They also, the humidor, it only comes with the 8th anniversary cigars. It does have removable shelving. It can expand to hold double that. And that's all the info I have on this unique creation from some of the most legendary names in the business. One, we've never featured a cigar that was a collaboration between two cigar all-stars like this. 2, I don't believe we've ever featured a cigar that you can't just buy the cigar.
Yeah, normally we try not to.
So I'm just going to tell you guys right now, I don't have an MSRP. I don't have a price for the cigar we're smoking because it can't be bought just on its own. So, you know, we can
enjoy.
We can just enjoy, as Daniel says, and take price out of the equation. Now,
Okay, don't worry about it. Just light up and enjoy. Just enjoy the evening with your friends. That's what it's for.
that is what it is for, Tut. Daniel was generous enough to gift us these cigars from, quote, his own personal treasure chest. And he also sent us along some hand-cut cedar spills from his workshop that he cut for us. Because as he said, lighting this cigar with a torch lighter or anything but a cedar spill, we wouldn't want to disgrace Carlito's masterpiece. Fucking A. Flame on. Do it. Let's set this fucker on fire.
My hands are touching something that Daniel Marshall has touched.
That's right.
I mean, I shook hands with him, but you know, it's still.
Hey, do you like how
Pretty awesome gift, man.
dude, he's a generous.
No, I mean the gift he gave you, but I'm saying the humidor thing with the.
Oh my God, his humidors they're literally works of art.
That sounds awesome.
I mean, they're not just like I mean, they're works of art. I mean, they're beautiful. We went and we watched him, or we looked at them at the trade show, and it was just amazing. I'm like jaw-dropping amazing.
We've always, ever since meeting Daniel, I've always been a proponent of like, I understand if for whatever reason you smoke a lot of cigars and you can't afford a large humidor to account for them all, but he really made me a believer in that there is a difference between a cigar stored and aged in a Spanish cedar, well-crafted humidor, as opposed to a lot of guys just keep them in plastic tubs or, you know, things of that nature. And you just can't listen to the guy talk about it and not get his reasoning and
Yeah.
he believes it with all his heart, and he makes these beautiful things. And his story about how he and Arnold, how he first sold Arnold his, his first treasure chest humidor. Watch our interview with Daniel Marshall and you'll become a fan too. Tut is lighting his cigar with a cedar spill. He's inhaling and spinning the cigar like a champ. Both boys are. Did you get anything on the cold draw, or did you misfits just jump right in and start puffing away?
No, you were absolutely correct. It was a graham cracker on that cold draw.
Oh, so the aroma of the foot is graham cracker.
Cade, one more time. What's the name of that the humidor with the 7 stogies in it?
It is. Doctor's doing a little Christmas shopping for your favorite podcast host.
For myself.
The Daniel Marshall limited edition desk travel humidor.
Gotcha.
Boys, how was the lighting experience with the cedar spill?
A little different, but good.
Did you get the cedar aroma in the air will
I did.
Ideally kind of mix with the aroma from the cigar? Let me take a minute here to light up. I'm getting a little bit of that cracker, more tut than the graham on the aroma. Just a kind of a
that graham sweetness was definitely there in the cold draw. It had just a touch of like, hay or grass on just the aroma.
I got a little bit of hay, yes. I can't keep my cedar spill lit.
You got, once you get it lit, you got to hold it. It's not a match. You have to hold it. Yeah, there you go.
Can't find that one.
Am I just tasting just being slapped up against the head with cedar now?
Most likely, yeah. I'm getting a lot of that.
Oh man, I am getting that graham cracker on the nose. I am getting cedar on the draw. It's dying down by the second. I mean, obviously with that flaming piece of cedar wood in my face, I was getting heavily influenced by it. I'm getting cedar and a very creamy. Sorry, Ty, I know you don't get creamy.
Not at all.
A very creamy light coffee flavor on the draw, but the no spice. I mean the retro hail is literally pure graham cracker.
Yeah.
Is that what you, man? That graham cracker it's so odd to have a note from smelling the cigar pre-light, getting it also on the cold draw, and then lighting the cigar. Usually anything cool early on never shows up in the cigar. And yeah, that graham cracker is definitely there.
That's weird. I'm missing that.
I'll agree with you on that. Cream, definitely just a touch for coffee, but cream definitely.
A little cream. You're not quite getting the coffee with the cream. And I'm sorry, I'm going to give this a second to sit now that it's lighting really well. Man, for using such a archaic way to light a cigar, they sure did burn straight.
Yeah.
Maybe we should be using cedar spills for all our cigars. Cody, you're the woodsman in the podcast. Start cutting me some spills.
Well, I'm gonna need like a endless supply of cedar.
Well, we do smoke a lot of cigars. Yeah. Speaking of cigars, as you boys kind of settle into yours, do you know who also makes some really good ones?
Who's that?
That's right, Tut. Our good friends over at Drew Estate.
All right.
And one of the most unique offerings in their vast portfolio is the Pappy Van Winkle Family Reserve Barrel Fermented Cigar. It is a long filler premium cigar rolled in limited quantities at La Gran Fabrica Drew Estate in Estelín, Nicaragua. Deep barrel fermentation is the key process that makes this expression vastly different from anything on the market. Hand-selected leaves from Kentucky are packed into small torquettes, which are then loaded strategically into oak bourbon barrels. Water is then added while immense pressure is applied to the torquettes via railroad jacks. The tobacco is removed 2-3 times per year, shaken out, then repacked. The total process of fermentation takes 12 to 18 months, leaving a truly unique flavor profile and aroma. The Pappy Van Winkle's Family Reserve Barrel Fermented is now available at brick and mortar Drew Diplomat retailers everywhere. Having said that, did you guys notice that the cigar has a very mild box press to it?
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't even really notice it when I was pulling it out of the cello, but it's definitely got some corners to it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to come back to the cigar while Yak Boy, as he does every episode, he is the proprietor and master bartender extraordinaire at O'Brien's Irish Pub in downtown historic Temple, Texas. You are the Sam Malone, the Ted Danson of O'Brien's Irish Pub. Is that correct?
More
Woody Harrelson?
Woody, yeah.
Rita?
Oh God, I could only wish.
Yak Boy is the Rhea Perlman of the Tuesday Night Cigar Club podcast. But no, you know a lot about beer, so we love you kind of filling us in on what everybody's drinking. I'm actually starting out the night in tribute to our friend Daniel, who was kind enough to gift us cigars, with a beer just for him. What am I drinking, Yaks?
The Happy Camper IPA from Santa Fe Brewing. Santa Fe Brewing started back in 1988. Getting kind of close to our 38 year, but not quite. A few years short.
6 years off.
Yeah. Started back in 1988 by a gentleman by the name of Mike Levis. Of course, located in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I know what you're all thinking. There's a New Mexico?
Yeah, tell me more about this.
Apparently it's just happened. I didn't know about it myself. Didn't know what happened was wrong with the old Mexico. But anyways.
Nothing was wrong.
No. But the Happy Camper, as I said, it is a IPA, American IPA. It is 6.6% ABV, 82 IBUs.
It's got a nice hop bite. It's got a wonderful piney kind of aroma.
Yes.
On the pour. It's a really nice, and it's got some malts, but not too. The malt to hop balance is really, it's a damn good IPA. I would put the IBUs low 70s at best, but what do I know?
That's what I was wondering. Every time someone always claims that high IBUs, I'm like, man, they're talking my language. But I have actually had Happy Camper before, and I was gonna ask you about that because I was gonna put it probably in the 60s myself.
Well, again, Yaks, what do I know? I'm only one of the world's most renowned beer experts. So.
World's most renowned, eh?
Cigar experts. That's what I meant to say.
All right.
Now, see if you had that quarterly coming out.
You want me to talk about? You said you have two beers. You want me to talk about the other one? Or
sure, because of well, you know what? No, I'll let you know when I crack those open. Let's keep the show going.
Well, I will go on to the Good Doctor then.
My second beer is way more geared to pair with tonight's film than.
Yeah.
But hey, Daniel loves his campfires. I'm a happy camper with our friendship with Daniel, so I thought it was a good fit.
Yeah. All right. Like I said, I'll go on to the Good Doctor. He is doing that's how I kept getting this wrong. Spindle Tap Brewery, the Copper Chopper Amber Ale. Spindle Tap opened up in 2014 in the wonderful city of Houston, Texas. The chopper is 5.3%, and I could not find an IBU. It is an amber, so it's low to no bitterness.
That's
Doc?
right, Doc.
Oh, correct assessment.
Is it good? I don't care for ambers. I kind of find them boring.
Yeah. Boy, I hate to be harsh, but so far boring might be an accurate term. It's doesn't have a bad taste to it at all, but it's just what can you say? It's an amber ale. I mean, there's easy going, but nothing really remarkable about it.
What was your thought process in picking tonight's beer, Doctor?
It was available in the store that I went into.
Yes.
Did what he could with the resources available.
At Shellman's Liquor and Spirits in Highland Village, Texas.
If you're looking for an amber ale, that's the place to go.
They have a fine selection of beers there.
Okay.
Excellent. I will. All right. Good Tuttle there. Apparently he's on a diet. He's having the 100-calorie hazy IPA. But it's called the Running Man, so it's got that going for it.
I love the name. I love the tie-in. It's a girl beer, Tut.
Well, my thought process behind it is that I am half a week removed from finals. So as soon as we're done here, I'm going straight to bed, and I got to get up at the crack of dawn tomorrow and go straight to the books. So unlike last Thursday, where I was useless after the last show, I was useless for an entire day after that bad boy. I did not want to risk that. I cannot risk that going into finals. So, I wanted something light. I wanted something that would not cause any harm. So the way I summed this beer up, it's crap. I would not recommend it to anybody. It's bitter. It's boring. And it's not bitter like in cool hop stuff either. It's just bitter and nasty. It's not good. It's not good beer. I don't like it.
Yeah, because I don't know if I want to know who makes this thing.
It is made by Fourth Tap Brewing Co-op.
Oh, man, we like those guys.
It's located in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, they're not Austin. They do the Kung Fu Robot.
Yes, they do.
Oh, tight.
Well, that's what I was saying, Kung Fu Robot. But I was interested in this one because it is a low-cal. It is a hazy IPA.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask him because, the stats for it is 5%, and it's listed as being 4 IBUs. I couldn't find anyone different saying anything. I was like, how do you get a 4?
But it's an IPA.
Yeah, 4.
That's what they say. It's an IPA. It's not.
Okay. Man.
It looks like beer. It does not taste like beer.
You know what?
I've had 100-cal beers, and you know what? They're okay. You know what you're going into. If you get a 100-cal beer, you know what you're getting.
Actually, that's not true. Dogfish makes it's called the Slightly Mighty 97-calorie IPA.
I haven't tried that one.
My wife drinks them. I don't touch that stuff. But I'm just kidding. I've had quite a few. It's actually a really good beer.
Is it? Okay.
Like, I don't see how with that beer out there why anybody's drinking Michelob Ultra, because this beer actually has flavor and taste. Yeah. Well, it's so typical Tuesday Night Cigar Club because Fourth Tap is one of the only breweries over the last 5-6 years that shares our reviews, reposts are they've been very love what you guys are doing, and then Tut pulls out his dick and pisses all over their brewery.
Well, I wouldn't say he did that. I mean, discuss this one particular beer.
And I was interested because I have seen a number of beers that have come out recently for quote unquote the more active person, as opposed to just being like you just said your ultras or your 55.
And I was just that was half in jest, Tut. If
Look at me, X. Do I look active?
You could be. You're just one step away from it.
Yeah. We don't see what's
Oh,
going
I'm
on.
one step away from something, my friend.
All we see is what's going on from the neck up. Look, I was just half kidding. You obviously don't care for one of their beers, but we love the Kung Fu Robot, and I was just joking around. So hey, man, we can't like everything.
I know I'm a little bit disappointed because when I saw Kung Fu Robot sitting right next to it, I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be a low-cal beer from an actual beer maker.
Yeah. Well, you win some, you lose some. Hey, we have episodes that people are totally. We'll see where this one's headed. But you know what? I mean, we're not batting. Doctor, help me with my baseball analogy. Batting 1,000, is that a great thing?
That's right. Nobody bats 1,000.
We're not batting 1,000 here ourselves, boys. So fourth tab, don't feel too bad about yourself. If they were really going to lose any sleep over.
I wake up in the morning, fourth tap standing outside on the street.
We're going to co-op your ass.
Yeah, study this, mother.
I respect the reasoning behind your decision, Tut.
Thank you.
This thing is drawing like, and I appreciate your honesty as always. This thing is drawing like a dream. I'm getting a slight pepper about an inch in, going with that gram on the nose. Have you guys noticed any? There was nothing there initially, but now I'm getting a little bit, just very subtle, but I'm getting a little bit of pepper on the nose. Yeah, boy.
I have got that. When I first lit up, I got like first few puffs, I got a little spice and then it disappeared. So I just assumed that was combination between that and the spill lighting up, but then I have been getting a touch.
It's been coming back a little bit. What are you guys getting?
I'm actually getting a little bit more. I'm actually getting a little bit more pepper than Graham on the retro hell.
Yeah, it's building. I'm kind of curious to see where that goes. Are you still getting the cream and the cedar on the draw?
Yes.
Yeah. Me too. It's a very mild cigar.
It's an extremely mild cigar. It's an extremely light cigar.
It should go well with your beer. No, I'm being serious. It's a light beer. I mean, if it doesn't have if the beer.
I'll tell you how bad this one is. I'm about to go get a Dos Equis out of the fridge.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Tough it out.
Tough it
Believe
out,
in
big
yourself.
Boy. Tough it out. Hey,
He's
it
not
was
my
good.
mate.
I like when I saw the can, the Running Man, it made sense because we're going to talk a lot about. We're going to talk
I
quite
thought
a
it
bit.
was cool. I was like, damn, you got a good beer. It ties everything together.
We're going to talk quite a bit about
when I
the
saw
Running Man.
that name, I was like, dude, this is perfect. Low-cal, Running Man. I mean, it's a hazy IPA, but
But unfortunately, he got the dynamo of beers.
Hey, don't you disrespect Dynamo. Dynamo was a beast in the zone.
I'm not going to say I got the Captain Freedom of beers here, but I definitely got the Fireball. It's pretty good. It sounds like I may have gotten the only good beer tonight. I don't know. Yax, what are you drinking?
I am drinking from Revolver Brewing their Blood and Honey. It's a wheat beer.
Okay.
It's a classic. I was looking originally for something more to fit with the movie, but or the cigar, but more Christmassy, but I couldn't find anything. So there's a lot of Christmas beers, but they didn't seem to tie in.
Uh-huh.
But I do remember, because I have had Blood and Honey many times, it has a slight sort of cinnamon flavor to it. And I was like, yeah, there's some Christmas with cinnamon. So,
okay.
But then I was like, hey, blood.
A lot of blood.
That works with the movie.
There's a lot of blood in tonight's movie. Now, I will echo.
And the honey, of course, with the wonderful actresses, Olivia Hussey.
There's some cute honeys. Gotcha.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to just steal Tut's quote. Whatever he said about that Running Man beer is how I feel about your beer. I hate that beer. It is one of the few beers I've ordered at a bar and couldn't even take more than 3 sips of. I thought it was just terrible.
Hey, I'm gonna stay away from that.
I like it.
You're crazy.
Apparently so. But I like that cinnamon.
How's it? I wonder. It might be playing interesting with the cigar, huh?
A little bit. I was concerned after I got it because I was like, wait a second. I didn't know enough about the cigar to be like, is this, and I thought about it. I mean, this isn't, I didn't know if it was just going to be like a flavor bomb or if it was going to be more mild.
Right.
And then I'm like, so
Well,
I'm luckily that like I said, it's not like it's cinnamon beer. It just has that light flavor. So it's not interfering with the cigar in any way.
Well, I
don't think it is.
Daniel is very big fan of smooth in his cigars and in the way he carries himself. And this thing, to his credit, what's he always told us about a cigar? He wants it to draw like a dream. It's got a beautiful draw.
It does.
And construction's been great. I was worried about anytime you light a cigar weird, whether it's like outside in the wind or with a bic, or if you're like you always run the risk of kind of fucking up the burn line. For lighting this thing with a piece of wood, it's burning beautifully.
They're doing great, yeah.
But it's just so mild.
It's very mild.
You got to really kind of pay attention, and you can pick up those nuances of the cream and the cedar and the pepper and the graham, but you got to look for it, which I guess that kind of goes along with the campfire, paying attention to your friends and paying attention to your cigar.
Well, what happens if you genetically can't get one of the flavors?
Tut, you can't get cream. Yak Boy can't get butter. So
what is it with the dairy products?
I can tell you, it sounds fantastic.
I can't pick up cottage cheese in a cigar. I just never been able to get that note.
Never been cottage cheese in a cigar, and I would be worried if there was.
I've had a couple that I bet it was there. I just didn't know it.
I've had the same problem myself, kid, with turnips.
Turnips.
Yeah.
Unable to taste turnips.
And everyone says I fell off the turnip wagon yesterday, but you think would be.
Hey, I didn't know you were in the next room, and I apologize for that. I'm sorry.
You knew I was in the next room. You meant for me to hear that.
Well, here's a funny story. He didn't have any of these cigars. When I contacted him, because he was a longtime advertiser on the show, so we emailed back and forth, and I contacted him I read about it on Aficionado, and I was like, Daniel, I'd love to feature these on the show. And he's like, Kate, I'd love you to, but he just didn't have any. But he's like, here's what I can do. He was going to send me one of these actual humidors, these $2,000 humidors, to show it to our audience and the whole 9 yards. And he's like, and I'll send a return postage. So immediately I was going to have to send it back to it was going to come with an armed guard and they're going to watch me the whole time. And, but he made it work. He got back to me on his own. It was like, hey, I'm pulling him out of my own personal stash he's just a cool guy, man. He is. He's a damn good guy. One of my favorite guys we've had the pleasure of meeting in this industry. As soon as Yax gets back, we're already halfway through the show. Kind of talk about this movie a little bit.
Yeah, I just like talking to him.
Yeah, there's just I just don't like talking to so many people. When I meet somebody that I like talking to, it's such a pleasure.
Yeah.
Like a new person. Like I like talking to you guys, but we've been talking for years. It's very rare that I meet someone new in life and I'm like, oh man, I could talk to this guy all night. Like I'm getting something from this conversation. Like I'm again, I get that from you guys.
No, I know what you mean.
I don't get that from very many strangers that I meet and have conversations with. And the guy is he's lived a life, man. All right, Yak Boy, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Cut.
Clap.
All right, let me crack open a fresh Happy Camper. This might actually be the last one of these. I might switch gears to see how the other beer works with the cigar here in a minute. But first, I want to introduce our film, Turkey Shoot. Hey, it was just Thanksgiving. I don't know about you guys. I still got some turkey in the fridge. Turkey Shoot, also known as Escape 2000. Why did I pick this?
Escape 2000.
As you loyal listeners of the podcast know, we have always in the past paired our Daniel Marshall cigars with an Arnold Schwarzenegger film because the two of them are longtime friends, and God knows we love us some Arnold movies. But here's the deal. I really, really wanted to talk about The Running Man tonight. Like when I kept looking at Arnold movies on the shelf, I didn't want to talk about anything but The Running Man. But the problem is we already featured that.
We've already done it. Yeah.
You should go back and watch. It's a great show. So I picked a very similar theme movie that was, wait for it, released 38 years ago. Just like the cigar, just like the opus. 38 years ago this year, Turkey Shoot, aka Escape 2000, was unleashed on
I
audience.
was wondering what your thought process was in this
How's
movie.
that?
Every now and then you'll pull one of these foreign flicks out that kind of surprised you. So I was just kind of curious.
How's that for a cigar tie-in, huh?
It is a great one.
Well, you know, I was looking at 1982 action movies. We could have done the first Conan. That's when that dropped.
Very
But
true.
man, I honestly, after Thanksgiving, I did not have the energy to give Conan the Barbarian justice. It's one of the greatest movies ever made. And there's so much to dig into there. I mean, just the backstory alone with De Laurentiis, how it came to be with Oliver Stone and John Milius. Like we talked for 2 hours before we even got into the film. And I was like, no, I'm too sleepy. Tryptophan is going to be to blame for this one. I'm going with Turkey Shoot. And I think we'll have fun with it. Here's a little summary of the film. In a totalitarian future where deviants are held in rehabilitation camps, a freedom fighter and a wrongly accused prisoner form an alliance to survive their decadent oppressors' game of kill or be killed and turn the tides against them. Does that sound pretty accurate?
Mm-hmm.
It does.
That I stole that off the end. I didn't write that. Written by John George and Neil D. Hicks, the film was directed by Australian filmmaker Brian Trenchard Smith, which makes sense as this film was shot in Australia. Quentin Tarantino referred to this director in Entertainment Weekly as one of his favorite directors of all time. And I've only seen one other movie of his, as an Australian horror flick called Dead End Drive-In, I think.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see where, I mean, Tarantino has a love for these kind of lower budget action flicks if done right. So I can kind of see where he's going there. Let me just, I'm going to let my cigar go out before we begin. Tonight's film starts off with a montage of highly disturbing footage of actual civil unrest from around the world. People fighting in the streets, mobs clashing violently with cops, cars on fire. Sadly, it looks a lot like a lot of major cities in America in 2020, 38 years later.
It seems so far-fetched.
It's just crazy. You know, when I was a kid, Doctor, to that point, when I watched The Running Man as a kid, even at a young age, I always had this feeling that these dystopian futures like Blade Runner and Running Man, that they were just these concepts that made for good movies. And imagine that I was wrong about something. Mark it down, boys. It finally happened. I was wrong. Shocking. Yeah, it was kind of creepy watching that opening montage, wasn't it? Like they're showing you this shit that like this is going to get you to believe this horrible state of the world, and like, dude, that's on that's on the news every night. Like,
yeah.
After the credits,
yeah, but the difference is that there's always that, like literally, like somewhere that's happening in the world.
True.
That's the one thing that I kind of latched on to. One of the greatest opening sequences that I like is the Dawn of the Dead remake, where you got Cash singing over the clips of modern day unrest, and I thought that was just expertly crafted. And I remember all those scenes of unrest, and then as I'm watching this, it's like all those scenes of unrest, except you could tell it was like the 70s and the 80s. I mean,
Well, and you could tell a lot
this
of
stuff
them,
has been going on forever.
yeah, but you could tell that most of that stuff was other countries.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of American stuff in that opening montage. And yeah, you could make that exact same montage right now just using shit from the last 6 months, you know, here in the States. Well, after the credits roll, we find ourselves in a jewelry store where a man has burst through the door as he's being chased by militarized police. As they beat the dude without mercy in the store, a beautiful woman named Chris, played by the beautiful Olivia Hussey, who works at the jewelry store, she begs the police officers to stop pummeling this guy. Well, the cops don't like her attitude. Oh, you his lover? He came into the store for a reason. The guy clearly just ran.
I mean, the coppers didn't like his attitude.
Oh, you are drinking the Copper Chopper beer, Doctor. Oh, now it's all making sense.
It was a stretch.
It's a stretch. But... Hey, I'm gonna
I give it to you.
I'm gonna move you a little bit up above Yaks on the leaderboard. You guys are gonna be battling out all night.
Son of a.
No, Yaks had blood in his beer, blood and honey. I'm still.
Hey, we got cops,
You got coppers. This is about cops in the society.
and I'm not buying Yaks whole. Hey, there's some
It's a
honeys.
police. It's
Honeys in
literally
this-
a police state.
All right, well, you guys are tied. How's that?
This has cinnamon in it, right? It's a Christmas beer.
Yeah. Well, not only
Oh,
do they,
Yaks, I love you.
not only this is the
Feeling
episode
it.
where this is
I love
the
you so much. I'm going to grab one of these beers in your honor.
drink them
And-
up, Todd.
Pour it
Yeah.
out.
Be a man, Todd. Not only do they accuse this chick of being his lover because he happened to stumble into her store, just the fact that she's so appalled by their violence, they call her a sympathizer, handcuff her, and haul her ass away.
That's the way these societies work.
We then join our hero, Paul Anders, as he broadcasts from his little pirate radio station. Here's what he has to say to his listeners. Every day, more and more of us are being sent to the camps. More and more of us disappear or die. The government calls us traitors or deviates because we oppose its ideology. And then it tries to wipe us out because we believe we have the right to be ourselves. Then it justifies its policies by talking of work ethic, community obedience, social conformity. But what it's really saying is accept slavery or die. The time has come to fight back. But just then an armed group of government law enforcement officers burst in on him and take him prisoner as he screams into his microphone, God, don't give up. Don't give up. Fight for your children. Fight for yourself. And then there's always that one cop with the little billy club just clunks it in the back of the head. And that's it.
I think that's a great message. Go fight the state and try not to end up like I am, being hauled away by the state.
I'll never stop fighting, clunk. It wasn't much of a pirate radio station if they could find him, huh?
Yeah, it sucks because I think I love the theme of a pirate radio, the theme of radio free whatever underground radio. So I was in this guy's corner just right from the get go, just from that.
You like a guy in a dark room with a microphone speaking to the underground.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor, best movie to ever do it. I think we're in agreement. Pump up the volume.
Oh yes, I thought you were suggesting this.
No, hard on Harry. Christian Slater in Pump Up the Volume.
Yes, a late '80s classic.
Love that movie. You ever see it, Dad?
I probably did.
As a lover of pirate radio, you would absolutely, and 80s films, you'd adore it. It also features the sumptuous. Is it Samantha Mathis? Is she the one in that? Or
yeah, that's it, right? I think you got that. No, I think you got the name right.
yeah, I think so. She's really cute in that. It's a great movie. It's my favorite Christian Slater movie by far. Well, we then find Paul, the pirate radio guy, Chris, the jewelry store worker, and another prisoner named Rita, who was turned in to the police for being a whore, as they are all being transferred in a military vehicle to a camp located out in the middle of nowhere for re-education to make obedient little citizens out of them, as Paul tells them. And get this, they're wearing yellow jumpsuits just like in The Running Man.
The ones in Running Man were of a higher quality.
Quality.
They had a sheen to them.
Well, and these aren't skin tight unitards like in Running Man. Damn it, because Olivia Hussey and this other chick are quite
Yeah,
lovely.
Other chick.
these look
Good
like the
Lord.
sort of sweatpants you buy like in 10 in a package at a Sam's Club.
They actually look more like the '90s you buy, like the full body zip
Like
up.
a onesie that you go to sleep
Yeah,
in.
well, yeah.
I don't know about you, but the way I look at it is that if your society has a re-education camp, things might have gone wrong somewhere.
Unless the people at the top are telling you that you need them and you believe everything those people at the top tell you. But we can't relate to that at all.
I don't want re-education camps.
You're trying to get your first education. You got to go back?
When I become the wealthy administrator who is running one of these camps in the future, I'll take that under advisement.
Doctor, you kind of look like if you put a gray jumpsuit on you, you could be the head of one of these camps.
That sounded rather insubordinate, Mr. Cade.
No. I was just telling you what Yak said to me on break.
Multiple neon colors on the front of your shirt.
See, I'm an instigator.
I was about to say, Doc, if you become the headmaster at a re-education camp, yeah, I'll probably be. Hey, it's not that bad.
Would you let us come into your little den and play chess and smoke cigars with you?
I'll make evaluations on that on a case-by-case basis.
Hey, but after the chess game, you have your guys pummel us, just beat the shit out of us.
Could I at least be your second in command, pummeling them?
See,
He's
now
got the hair.
Do it. He's asking. Yes, Yax, you absolutely. You're going to be my Mr.
Yes.
We'll be doing the pummeling.
What if I wear contacts and take off my shirt, exposing my hairy body, and grunt a lot?
Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but let's just say if you wear a little black velvet vest, I might be into that.
We'll find a place for you. Okay. Well, they're greeted. Oh, I'll tell you what. You can tell immediately that this camp is going to suck because they're greeted by an asshole guard who loves cracking his bullwhip every 5 seconds.
Oh, God.
While he informs the new campers to get head down and ass up whenever I command. Hey, that was a Two Live Crew song.
Well, that's the first thing I thought of too. It's like head down, ass up.
Don't say the rest.
I'm not.
It's a children's program. No, God, no. Kids, run. If you've stumbled across this, run. I sound like a pirate radio guy. Children, if you found this, run. And it also sucks because every prisoner we see in the background is raking a large dirt field. They're raking dirt, which will be explained later. Raking dirt all day. That's super, super shitty, isn't it, Yax? It's useless.
Very much so.
It's seemingly useless.
Terrible.
They're all told that while they won't understand their purpose for being here now, one day you will, and it's for your own good. Inside the camp's headquarters, two fancy-talking older white dudes, imagine that, are drinking scotch, smoking pipes, and playing chess on the world's most enormous chessboard with hand-carved tribal pieces that are easily like 1.5 feet tall. It's like the chessboard. The chessboard's huge. The pieces are like these African tribal art that's like it's a lovely chess. I play a lot of chess. I would love to get my hands. I mean, I have no place for it in my house. It's bigger than my dinner table, but still.
Well, maybe in this dystopian future, the larger the chessboard, the more
status. Yeah.
So apparently he does have a very dignified guest, so maybe he brought out the good chessboard.
Oh, you think maybe he's playing chess on some, yeah, he brings out the big pieces.
If you're going to be a host to famous heads of state, Mr. Cade, one must enjoy the finer things in life.
Mr. Secretary is going to be here in 2 hours. Are you done whittling those chess pieces yet? The guy's like, I'm trying. Damn it. Well, speaking of which, the two men are Mr. Secretary, a visiting dignitary, and the camp's director, Charles Thatcher. And they're discussing how the nation's camps, they're all highly overcrowded, except for this one. Thatcher, in his Dr. Evil gray Bond villain suit, doesn't let his camp get too full, as he can always find a useful way to dispose of campers to keep his numbers down. I don't know, like orchestrating a deadly hunt, perhaps, where a bunch of rich, powerful assholes can come and hunt some of the deviates down like wild prey. That's a fun way to keep your numbers down. Thatcher heads outside and addresses the large mass of prisoners to introduce the 3 new additions. We learn that Paul's escaped from several of these camps before. He's got quite a record as a troublemaker. Tut style.
I don't know. Tut's not the one using the multicolored ink pen.
Doctor, have you added me to some kind of list?
Hang on.
I don't want to live in a world without color, man. Just lock me up.
That's my plan. You're going to be in a yellow running suit.
Well, you can lock me up and put me in that yellow banana suit, but there's going to be another young up-and-coming podcaster who's going to wear even more flashy colors than me. He's going to chug more beers than me. He's going to talk real into this microphone, even more real than me. You're going to be sorry.
He'll be your new cellmate.
Can't play
Got
City
it all
Hall.
planned out.
You can't fight City Hall.
Looks like I'm working for the right guy.
See, Yak? You get your wheel to the right wagon, Yaks. I'm going to like our professional relationship.
I always knew the original beer trio from high school would eventually be reduced to a beer duo. I just thought the numbers would work differently in my favor. Yaks, I thought we'd take him out. Anyway, moving on. Guys, real quick, I'm not quite to the halfway mark. I'm trying to give this delicate cigar some patience. That strength is still slowly building for me. I mean, it's still a mild, but both on the nose and in the draw, I'm getting a little more bolder. All those flavors are still the same, but they're coming across a little more bolder towards the halfway mark. Are you guys getting that?
Yeah, it's definitely filling up a little bit. I don't want to say full because it's not. It's just building. It's slowly building. But yeah, there's not a lot of transition to it. It's just an emphasis on the flavors that it established early on.
The retro hail right now is the best it's been in the whole cigar. Blow this cigar out your nose, folks. It's a beautiful retro hail. That graham cracker and pepper, especially with the upkick in strength, like Tud said, it's still mild. But where it was absent completely in the early goings, it's there now. It's a beautiful retro hail, and it's being complemented by the creamy coffee and that cedar profile. And there's something else kind of building there on the draw. I can't quite place it yet, but I'll keep my radar on it. Is it you guys in sync with?
I do agree. I mean, I think it's building a lot. That cedar definitely has gotten stronger. The cream has stayed basically the same, but it, like you said, it's not like it's become overpowering. I can agree with you. It's just building.
It's cashew. The other thing I'm getting on the draw now is cashew. It just started, but I'll keep you guys posted. Salty cashews.
Not getting the salt.
That's what I was getting at first was the salt, and there was something else with the salt, and it's a salty nuttiness. Yeah. Doctor, you keep your comments to yourself. See, I know you. You think he's going to be your right-hand man?
Well, see, you're argumentative. Cody's going to administer the beatings.
Oh yeah, I don't take orders well.
Cody, the deviants need their morale raised. Administer the beatings.
He just can't listen. How is he going to work in this?
Thatcher tells the group that all he requires of them is that they obey a few simple rules, and in time they will possibly be released upon completion of their self-improvement classes. And then to really demonstrate how things work around here, Thatcher orders this giant 8-foot-tall guard named Ritter to grab a poor young blonde girl from the crowd and have her repeat the camp's mantra over and over again. Here's how it goes. Sir, I'm a deviant, the lowest form of life on earth. The Re-Education and Behavior Modification Center is my salvation. I will obey the state, my parents, and you, sir. And she repeats it over and over again. But as she's saying this mission statement, trembling over and over again, this giant is circling around her and trying to make her flinch by like pretend punching her in the face. You know, like high school bullies would do. They come up to you and try to make you flinch in the face, and she's just quaking. This fragile little girl eventually loses her train of thought as she's promising to become an asset to society. And the second her mind goes blank, whack, the guard slaps the shit out of her over and over again. Which one slap from this dude, she would be dead.
One slap from this dude, a lot of people would be dead.
Yeah, but he's going back and forth, over and over again, as Thatcher tells everyone, this is what works. The guard then body slams this little girl to the ground and starts kicking her ribs. He damn near kills her. Freedom is obedience. Obedience is work. Work is life, Thatcher preaches to the crowd before dismissing the deviates. Boys, I don't get uncomfortable watching movies very often. It was a hard scene to sit through watching this giant dude.
Very, very uncomfortable scene to watch.
This chick looked like she was 15, couldn't have weighed 90 pounds, and this big ass fucker just beats the shit out of her.
Anybody know if this is the dude who played the police commander or the squad commander for the Mad Max movies?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah,
I liked him.
The first Mad Max movie, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But in this, he just reminds me of the German guy from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
It's torn up by the propeller. He's got the uniform on. He's over there like boxing.
He does. I don't know about you guys, but what I'm seeing so far of the Re-Education and Behavior Modification Center, I don't much care for.
No.
I don't like this place.
Don't want to be there.
It turns out that raking dirt and carrying bucket after bucket of water to water the concrete may seem meaningless and stupid to us, but it's teaching these prisoners that in order to conform back into society, they must accept any and every order given by the state without question.
Freedom is obedience, Cade, and obedience is work.
All right, what do you want me to do?
They create an atmosphere that on a low budget, as far as any sort of movie where there's been any kind of prison camp, whether it was a Vietnam POW camp or escape plan, or anything, they create a horrifying prison atmosphere here.
Yeah.
The combination of just the dead colors, the menial labor, these hideous guards, it's pretty terrifying.
It was a lot of talk until the dude beat the shit out of this girl, and then it became very in your face, real what's going on here.
Uncomfortable.
And very much to the well orchestrated. Thatcher knew what he was doing. Like whenever a new group comes in, you show Ritter beating the fuck out of some poor kid, and that sets the tone. Have I set the scene here well enough for you boys as far as where we're at, what's going on?
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, as we see Paul getting tortured in this rack type device, kind of like the rack in Braveheart, only they add stones, which basically it's like
there's a big stone that's going to crush him, but it's counterbalanced by weights on the outside.
Yeah, it's like the Star Wars trash compactor, but Thatcher can change the pressure with these stones. Thatcher's
it's horrible, man. I was looking at that and I was like, that's ingenious, and that sucks.
Yeah. Thatcher's lecturing him. And this kind of goes with what the doctor just said, describing this place. It dawned on me watching Paul get tortured right after that chick get beat, just how fucking bleak this vision of the future is, and how, while eerily similar to The Running Man, especially once the hunt begins, these films, while tackling the same type of future, couldn't be farther apart in their approach. Steve Railsback is certainly no Arnold. I've never liked this actor on screen. He was in, what's the Toby Hooper Space Vampires movie?
Life Force.
Life Force. He was okay as Ed Gein, one of the original serial killers. They did a biopic of him in the 70s, early 80s. I've just never been able to really enjoy this guy on screen. So as the hero, He doesn't have any of Arnold's charisma or screen presence. Olivia Hussey, as the main chick, is just petrified and quivering throughout this
entire
entire
time.
film. She lacks any of Maria Conchita Alonso's charm. And as our lead bad guy, Thatcher, while effective in his cold delivery and his demeanor, he's obviously no Richard Dawson. So while Turkey Shoot is without question the more realistic depiction of how a government-controlled, highly censored military state would behave, The Running Man made it fun and a hell of a lot easier to watch. They're so similar, but they're so different viewing experiences. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think you also kind of have to put some budget constraints in there. I think Running Man was operating on a little bit better firepower than what Turkey Shoot had to put in the chamber.
You think? Yeah, like for instance, in Running Man, when the hunt begins, they get shot down this series of high-speed tunnels in these little rail cars. Here, they just shove them out a chain link fence.
Yeah, they just let them walk. Actually, they just open the chain link up.
It's your turn. It's your turn. You go. That's just
Yeah.
one.
So I mean, I'm not. I think comparing it to Running Man is a little bit unfair.
I couldn't help it. I just thought there
saying.
were so many similarities, and not just the yellow jumpsuits, which we'll get to a couple of them a little bit later. But yeah, I just saw it. Which, let's keep in mind, this came first. I don't know when did Running Man, the Richard Bachman novel, come out, Doctor?
That was late 70s, but it's still all a play on the most dangerous game of hunting humans, which has been around for the better part of a century. Thematically, it's similar to Running Man, but they couldn't really be more different in execution and production.
Yeah, it was just two identical stories told so drastically differently.
Yeah.
Aesthetically and just their approach. I mean, this movie had zero humor in it. There's nothing funny in this movie.
I think they
Australian
tried some
humor.
things to be humorous.
No, I found some things unintentionally hilarious,
Yeah.
but
Well,
I don't think the director was like, "Here's where we're going to get the laughs." And
no, that I can agree with you on that. There were some things where it's technically they're supposed to be more at that during when it was made, it was supposed to be like, oh my God, that's shocking. But I was over there like, that's great.
well, I think we're going to get to one of those kind of soon. Well, unlike The Running Man, we do get to see all the women prisoners showering together, which is cool until the camera pans over a little bit to the dude showering with them, and we get a glimpse of their dystopian dongs flapping around. Doctor, didn't you play bass guitar in high school in a band called the Dystopian Dongs?
You ought to know you were the lead vocalist.
I was doing a lot of stuff back then, man. I don't remember much.
Uh-huh.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, I was the lead singer.
D, man, we were a main act on the high school party circuit.
Yeah, we had like 2 gigs.
Yeah,
it's a good run for us. Dystopian dongs. It turns out that the prisoners are allowed to have sex with each other. But if a pregnancy occurs, the fetus is terminated and the woman is immediately castrated. Oh, and homosexuality is a capital crime punished by death, naturally.
I mean, the female is sterilized.
Sterilized, I'm sorry. The man is, if he gets caught in a pregnancy, he's castrated.
His dystopian dong is
Dystopian gone.
dystopian gone.
Did y'all kind of have the thought at any point that this future, this is what they were thinking this is how it would be in 2000, 18 years in the future. And I forget, Running Man was kind of the same thing, 20 years ahead, I think. Because I think when we actually did review The Running Man, it was about 20 years, around the 20th.
It was like 1987 or 88. It was supposed to be 2007.
It was the 30th. I think we did it around the 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
Did y'all kind of have the thought at any point that this future is sort of a combination of both our radical right and our radical left in a way? Follow me on this. I think my first inclination watching this, especially these days with our nation's, leaders, batshit crazy responses to mass demonstrations and the way they handle the free press, is to look at the conservative right as the scary, power-hungry rich guys capable of anything. But there's certainly a movement among the left-leaning folks on the far end in political office that believe wholeheartedly that if your attitudes and your words don't fall in line exactly with their attitudes and their words, especially concerning social issues, then you should be canceled and wiped off the map as well. Not to mention the multiple, governors ordering total and complete lockdowns while they fine dine at restaurants. They're getting caught right and left not wearing masks and going out while they're telling everybody else to stay at home. And I'm not getting into the mask or no mask thing. I've made it pretty clear where I stand on that on the show. But all these examples is do as I say, not as I do, and all these examples of false step in line, whether you're Democrat or Republican. I just think we're so blessed in the United States to have total fucking assholes on both sides of the aisle and millions of morons that worship these self-serving cocksuckers hanging on their every word. I don't think you can say anymore that this is this is worst case scenario with this party in office or worst case scenario with this. They're all corrupt, power hungry fucks.
So interesting
Thoughts?
diatribe. How did what? I did not. I mean, what you say is I agree with quite a lot of it. I never drew anything from this movie to anything else.
I just think the way the movie started off rang such a resonant tone with me with those scenes that I just kind of went in. I just started, as I watched the whole movie, I just started thinking about, as a kid, I never thought this could be a potential future. It was just something made up for fun movies. Then I think maybe as kind of a more, agnostic, kind of rebellious late teens college kid, it's like, well, that's the Reagans, that's the Republicans, and that's how. But then when you get to be around my age, where you're seeing the other side be just as self-serving and unaccepting of anyone that doesn't step in line, I just think
it's just a message that we should viciously protect freedom, because regardless of who is in power, there's always the risk of that power controlling the society and controlling culture. Regardless of whether you're talking cancel culture from the left, back here, I think there's no mistake why this guy's name is Thatcher, because Thatcher was in control. She was a very moral, upright person that was pretty much the moral police, the thought police. So you've got your thought police on the left, you got your thought police on the right. So I think it's just a good type of deal, is that as long as you protect individual freedom and allow individual freedom, there's a good chance that you can stave off this type of societal dominance. But that's where the risk comes in when you start getting very ideological and very cult-like in your devotion to your to your partisan or your party. That's where the danger comes from. And you're right, it can happen on either the left or the right.
Well said, Tuttle.
And Thatcher was the actor's actual last name. So,
but was it?
No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that was a salient point, Tut. You're right. And I don't know. I was just trying to put it in kind of a modern context and seeing, if the whole shit house goes up in flames and we all end up in camps, which side do I think would ultimately be responsible? I was like, you know what? It's kind of a crapshoot at this point. They're all power hungry. Look at Mitch McConnell, man. The guy looks like a fucking zombie. He's like 9,000 years old, and these fuckers keep, electing him in. He's a gazillionaire. Yeah. And I just think ultimately, not to get off on a huge.
But technically, there isn't one that goes into office and doesn't end up that way if they end up staying in long enough.
Yeah, and that's why, ultimately, don't you think a lot of this, and then we just have a little bit left to talk in the movie, but don't you honestly think that besides, like Tut said, do everything you can in your power to fight for liberty and freedom and all that? Don't you think term limits are the way to stop this?
Won't happen. Just go ahead and stop that. Everybody's always like, well, don't you think term limits is the answer? Yes, term limits would probably do fix what you're talking about. But the politicians that are there have to vote that in, and nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to say, you know what, I'm going to erase the one financial bone that I have. They're not going to do that. So just stop with that pipe dream.
I mean, the only
Right, I'll stop.
only
Jeez.
way would be a literal uprising by the masses.
And it's not
Simply
going to
to
happen.
have. Well, of course it isn't going to happen. But that would be the only way, unless you have something catastrophic happen, and then they'll literally vote for it.
But if I lead such an uprising, I'll end up in the doctor's camp with you bullwhipping me, X.
And we
That's
are not
a
going to be
distinct
watching
possibility,
that.
but let's not dwell on the future.
That's if you're lucky. You might be getting the gas ball game.
What was up with that bizarre one-man soccer game that we get to witness that Tut just talked about right before the hunt begins? In order to instill an endless sense of fear in the prisoners, the enormous guard Ritter ties a young man's legs to two giant plastic hollow balls filled with gasoline and orders him to pick them up repeatedly as he and the other guards kick the balls around directly at the poor asshole. Eventually, it was so confusing. Eventually, the bloody kid, he looks even younger than the girl. He looks like he's 12.
Yeah, he looked like 13. That's what I was
The
saying.
bloody kid collapses from exhaustion and them kicking these kickballs in his face. It's like the world's worst game of kickball. Only the kickballs are tethered to his legs, and they're just popping him in the face over and over again.
Totally reminded me of 7th grade gym.
He finally collapses, and Ritter then, because the balls leaked, he lights the spilled gasoline. Did you notice this? Using a Daniel Marshall cedar spill. No, he didn't. He sets the boy on fire. And we watch this kid burn, and so does all the other prisoners in the camp. Another really harsh scene to watch. And it's followed by yet another terrible scene where we witness Chris, Olivia Hussey, in the shower, where she's on the verge of being raped by that bullwhip cracking.
I was about to cuss you. I
know, I promised no more rapes. Before she pulls up his zipper right on his nutsack. Ouch. So that stops there. I'm in the clear, Ted.
Oh,
Doctor, do
you
you
got
think,
lucky.
Doctor, do you think that asswipe will ever be able to fornicate with female deviates again after that?
My God, his zipper went right over his ball sack. Every nerve ending in the scrotum must have been on fire with pain. I'm afraid it's far too early to tell.
Is that what you guys call in the medical field, a ball sack?
Well, technically it is a scrotum, which I use correctly, but we say a lot of things in that field. Cody, make a note. Independent thought.
Oh, shit. Damn it. Hey, Yax, for the remaining 30 minutes that you're on my side, I'm switching over to my beer that I'm pairing with the film. Could you tell us about the Brew Free or Die?
Brew Free or Die IPA.
That pairs, right?
With that, Yax, would you note that by switching to beers, he's also demonstrated impulsiveness? Carry on.
Of course. Made by 21st Amendment Brewing. They started back in 2000 in San Leandro, California.
San Leandro,
excuse me. It is a 7% ABV, 70 IBUs. But I'm interested because it is a California IPA, whether or not that 70 will seem much higher.
I have not ever had this beer, so you can watch live as that judgment by me and me alone comes out. Not much on the nose. Nope. Let's try it out. It's malty. It's far more malty than the Happy Camper IPA.
And I remember when I used to have beers with maltiness.
Bitter. What would you say the IBUs were?
70.
Again, I'm gonna have to. put
I
on
was
my.
kind of hoping, considering it was California.
Yeah,
IPA.
no, those West Coast IPA. No, I'm gonna have to put this like, man, low
And of
60.
course, I mean, good tie-in. I mean, it's 21st Amendment, the repeal of prohibition.
Tut, may I say,
The 18th
you're rounding
Amendment,
up
which is a
nice.
terrible idea. All
The
around.
18th Amendment was a terrible idea. Yet,
It was.
is that prohibition?
That's prohibition.
Man, that didn't last long.
Yeah.
Can you imagine
Thanks for creating organized crime.
a dystopian future without IPAs? You can just bullwhip me to death. I don't care anymore. I will gladly go face down and ass up and do whatever the hell you want if I can't have my IPAs.
See, that was the will of the people. That was the majority kicking in there.
Not to go get all historical or anything like that, but my dad told me things that his dad told him, my grandfather from St. Louis, that the will of the people was to drink. So it was never enforced. And my dad said that his dad and my grandfather told him the story about how back then in St. Louis, when my grandfather was a young man there in the in the late 20s, early 30s, and prohibition was still in effect, that they had like neighborhood taverns, it was like at the end of a block. And the story that my grandfather relayed was that the two cops would come by and they'd stand outside having a smoke or whatever, wait for the guy to hide stuff, walk in, wander around, be like, hey, not selling a beer, are you? Like, nope. It's kind of like Mo from no, this is a friendly neighborhood pet store here. It's like, nope. And he's like, all right. They walk around for a minute. All right, we'll be off duty in an hour. And the whole thing was, that means when we come back in an hour off duty, we want a fucking beer.
Yeah.
It was like it was so the people were turning a blind eye when the people were coming in with bootleg whiskey.
I'll get you, beer baron.
No.
You won't.
Yes, I will.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Prohibition?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
It was a terrible idea.
We have a drinking podcast.
It goes
And the problem was, at the time when the government did something, people did listen. Unfortunately,
I guess if they did that again, we'd have to have a pirate drinking podcast.
Yeah.
If you're out there, drink. Don't stop drinking. Drink for your
No.
children.
this time around, if the government were to actually try to do prohibition, yeah, no. Unfortunately, I mean, it would be.
I think that might
I
actually.
don't know, because I got too many people, too many smart people. They're just like, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, you don't have nothing to fear. Just like the hussy chick, man. She wasn't doing anything wrong. Some strange dude just busted down her door, running in there. Next thing you know, she's running for her life.
Hey, if she would have listened to the cops, she'd be fine.
Kay, do you think if they ban alcohol that I'd be running the camp like Thatcher? Or do you think I'm going to be like Dweezil Zappa and Mick Fleetwood in that underground? I'm going to be wearing a leather jacket with grenades all over it.
Yeah.
Booze away from Mency? God.
I'm going to be right there with you. With
I think within. I think.
Hey, let's put him on. We've devised this method of scales. We'll put him under here doing this endless military press. That guy's been having delirium tremens for 72 hours. He couldn't lift 10 pounds right now.
I think 10 days without booze, you would actually physically look identical to Mick Fleetwood.
Not enough to lose your head over, though.
All I see is a bunch of low foreheads, big talk, no action. That cuts over to Tut. He hasn't spoken in 3 weeks since his last drink.
The loss of alcohol caused his tongue to swell up. He can't form words.
Yeah, I don't want to do a pirate drinking. Look at that face. I don't want to do a pirate drinking podcast. I mean, barely anyone listens to us now. Imagine what that would be like.
Well, that hurts.
I'm just teasing. We have a wide, dude. 1.2
Some tells me that it wouldn't be that much different than what we're doing now.
1.2 million YouTube viewers. Can't be wrong.
Except the president or whatever is like, my God, why can't you find these drunken assholes? They can't be that hard to find.
Just picturing Cade giving his last broadcast as the authoritarian cops come in to arrest him. Drink, God, keep drinking, keep drinking.
Drink for your kids.
Funk.
Oh. Actually, they could just let me stand up on my own and I'd fall and hit my head.
Sobriety is obedience.
Tut had that look on his face like, that's actually pretty, that hits home. Whoa, easy with the Billy Club. I can take care of this myself. Allow me.
I'll just stand up.
Give me 5 minutes. Just come out and handcuff me in the bushes. It'd be so much funnier if it wasn't accurate. So the day before the big hunt, a super sexy but very rich and powerful woman named Jennifer arrives at the camp's headquarters with her fancy ass crossbow that shoots explosive arrows. But she's almost thrown off her horse, literally, when it reels up in the air suddenly when she arrives. Because what?
The freak, man.
Yeah. On the porch of the house where all the bigwigs are hanging out, a wolf man named Alf, complete with thick body hair, fangs, yellow eyes, a top hat, and a classy black vest, is hanging out with them. Didn't see that
Damn,
coming.
I wish I had a top hat for tonight.
Didn't see that coming.
Did not see that coming.
French composer Philippe Leroux.
Oh my God, Philippe Leroux
says that every great memorable piece of music needs that one moment of madness. And I think it's clear tonight that this is that moment. The cigar smoking bigwigs explained to Jennifer that it's a freak they found in a local circus, a special treat to spice things up just for her. What are these guys doing at the circus?
Looking for freaks.
Don't you wish to be entertained?
You need good, wholesome entertainment in the dystopian future.
Now
What did
y'all
that-
know
with that sweet vest.
y'all know how I feel about werewolves in film. For such a big horror nut, I'm not a fan of them at all. But I did go on a big time rant one time when we visited RomaCraft headquarters. We were debating, somehow the Twilight films came up, and if we were debating if you had to choose between a vampire or a werewolf, what would you be? And I chose the werewolf mainly because as a wolf man, I could wear a sweet tuxedo vest, you know, the kind of adjust in the back, like the wedding vest. I thought it was a cool look. So I did begrudgingly appreciate that wardrobe touch with this creature. The fact they gave him the black fancy vest, even if they did add a white dress shirt underneath it later on in the movie. Why? Like the next day at the hunt, they're getting the werewolf, the wolf man ready. They're like, you know what? You should probably wear a dress shirt under that. He's a wolf man.
Well, maybe they were considering the hunt to be a formal event. He was.
We want our wolf man to look more formal.
That is correct, sir. There is no
Maybe the
excuse for
guy
not
just
having
wanted
class.
to see blood on this white shirt as he tears apart his victims.
Man, that top hat and vest was such a good look. I thought they kind of fucked it up by giving him a shirt later. What the hell was he doing in this movie? I loved it though. I absolutely, the minute he popped up on screen, I rewound that moment like 20 times. Like at first I was like, did that really happen? Like, did I just see that? And it's like, I can't remember a movie where something happened that I had no, like out of the blue, like maybe the Gimp in Pulp Fiction where you're like, whoa, this is unexpected. Hey, maybe that's why Tarantino likes this guy's movies. Maybe this guy always injects some crazy fucking thing at the last minute. He put a fucking wolfman in this movie.
No, I like the simple explanation. It's a freak. I got him at the circus.
A freak is the bearded lady or the Siamese twins.
or the wolf man.
Or the wolfman. He had fangs and
Yes, but this is actually a wolf man.
it's not a guy that looks like it's not one of those weird hairy dudes that are just way creepy.
Hey.
Any of you weird hairy dudes listening to podcasts, I apologize. Or that are participating on this podcast. I don't know what's going on under your shirts.
It's a veritable forest.
Thatcher gives Paul, Chris, Rita, and a total weirdo idiot named Dodge new government ID cards and promises them if they can survive, as he calls it, the chase, they'll all be free to re-enter society immediately following. But if they choose not to participate, they'll spend the rest of their lives in this camp. So naturally, they agree. And the next morning, the hunt begins. Each prisoner gets a head start in 30-minute intervals, with Paul going last, obviously, so he can't help the young ladies along. Real quick, because once we get into this chase, we're pretty much almost done with the film. Where you at on your cigar, Tut?
Coming into the final third.
That's exactly where I am. You? What about you, Yax?
I finished. Mine burned quick.
Oh wow!
It actually is a fast burning cigar.
I was trying to nurse it, but I mean, literally, like every puff I took, it just literally shrank. And so I'm like, I have like a nub over here, and I was like, I'm done. Both bands are gone and everything.
Well, I am with Tut. I'm in the final third. The strength it's still nowhere near the medium point, but it is
right.
It continues throughout the entire thing to slowly build and build and build. The spice, like Tut said, has kind of overtaken the Graham on the retrohale, but it's still a lovely retrohale. While the cedar and that creamy coffee, I'm also in this final third getting that we get it every once in a while, that weird kind of pencil shavings. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
No. That makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. Matter of fact, as soon as you said that to me, when you remember earlier when you were talking about cashews, I wasn't getting the cashews, but I did agree that something was being introduced, and to me, it was the pencil shaving.
They're there. I'm still getting in the final third that salty nuttiness. Shut up, doctor. Has died down a little bit. It was just there in the middle section, but it was a nice kind of surprise there in the middle. Man, this is just a very delicate, nuanced cigar. Construction's been great. It's still burning like a champ. I get why Daniel likes this cigar, and I get why a close friend of his would blend this to his palate.
Yeah.
Because it draws like a dream. It's got some really nice flavors.
And I also get where they want you to do it with the cedar spill. I mean, that just even augments it. It's a very cedar forward cigar to begin with, and then throw in that cedar augment from the spill. I mean, it just enforces it.
Yeah. But man, that final third, those pencil shavings are nice. It's almost kind of like a combination of that and like,
isn't it kind of weird to say that, but at the same time, like I just remember that smell.
Yeah.
I've always been a fan of that smell from school all the way. It's just kind of weird. It's like,
well, I might be wrong.
Shavings,
if you guys look on this YouTube screen, I actually just sharpened a ton of pencils in this pencil sharpener we have here in the wall.
That's what's influencing it.
And the fan just blew them all up my nose. So that could somewhat be influencing that. But no, man, cedar, really warm, gentle cedar, that creamy coffee, pencil shavings, salty cashews with a retrohale that's heavy on graham cracker and some real subtle pepper. Man, it's nice. It's a very nice, delicate, nuanced cigar, which Dana Marshall's a very nice, nuanced guy. So it fits. It tracks, as Tut would say.
I like it.
If you get anything as you're nubbing it, Tut, let me know. If not, I will kind of leave the cigar behind. I like the Happy Camper beer a lot better than the Brew Free or Die. The Brew Free or Die is a little more malt heavy, which is weird for a West Coast IPA, but it's too malty for my taste. I like my. I can't complain. Look what Tud's drinking.
So happy.
I'm not even gonna put that. I'll even make sure you can. No, can you see that name? No, not really.
I see the Fourth Tap logo. That's all I see.
Yeah, that's what I wanted you to see.
By all accounts, are very nice people who actually like the show, or they used to.
They used to. I'm sorry.
It's not your fault, Tut. It's not your fault. Doctor, I just did a little, speaking of Arnold, I just did a little Harry Shannon there. It's not your fault, Tut.
Not your fault, Todd. It's not your fault.
Well, one of the hunters and the Wolfman, Alf, easily captured the doofus Dodge. But rather than kill him quickly, the man tells the Wolfman to tear off Dodge's pinky toe so he can't run as fast. So he rips open the end of his shoe, rips off his pinky toe, and of course, because he's a Wolfman, he eats it. Alf is portrayed by Steve Crusher Rackman, who apparently is an icon on the Australian wrestling scene.
I knew this dude had to be a wrestler.
And his hulking physique is well known to millions of film fans around the world via his appearance as Donk in the Crocodile Dundee movies.
Ah,
Do you guys remember Donk?
yes.
I don't. I think I
He
saw
was the guy in the bar that put the beer on his head.
No, that was not him.
Yes, that's Donk.
I thought this guy was a lot shorter than Doc.
Apparently, this guy was in all 3 Crocodile Dundee movies. I think
Yeah,
I saw.
Doc is a lovable character, but it's got the big ass chin.
Well, he had a beard, obviously, in this, or Wolfman hair. You couldn't see his chin.
Yeah, it's true. I don't understand why I can't recognize this guy. Oh, the weird contacts, the wig, the beard,
The fangs, the super
The formal attire.
vest. Yak Boy, is that similar to the vest you wear during catering gigs?
It could be.
I think I've seen you in a vest, someone like that.
I wear such things on occasion.
Never on a full moon. I noticed that.
Shut your filthy mouth.
I always
think he's getting lippy again. Might need some re-education.
Like another independent thought to me.
I'm sorry. I only saw the first Crocodile Dundee movie, and even as a kid, I thought it was the stupidest thing I never watched any of the sequels.
Oh no, they just got more and more absurd. First, he's just a outback Australian man, and then he's fighting drug dealers, and then he's raising a child in Los Angeles.
At any point, did they just drop a Wolfman into the movie?
Yes, they dropped Donk in there.
Lovable Donk,
Oh, the
but
Donk.
no, if he at least put on a tuxedo, that might have been something.
Okay. I love how these rich-ass hunters were all drooling over each other's fancy high-tech weapons prior to the hunt. Like they're showing each other their guns and their different ammunition. And this fuckface with the Wolfman, he just runs Dodge down with a bulldozer, and then he stands there and smokes a cigarillo while Alf, the Wolfman, breaks every bone in this dude's body.
That's your weapon.
He never reaches for his gun.
That's his weapon.
His weapon is the Wolfman.
There you go.
At least the hot MILF actually uses her crossbow.
Oh, yeah.
And boy, does she. Jennifer fills one pathetic prisoner up with like a dozen arrows, one after another, right before Thatcher dries over him in his little red buggy. That guy wasn't one of the official contestants. He was killed as a message to the other prisoners back at camp as he's hung up on display to teach them what can become of those who cause trouble. And he still has all those arrows sticking in him. That was kind of cool. And he was kind of a curmudgeon asshole anyway.
Yeah. He was. There was nothing.
But you know what?
special about
Real quick. That leads me to another Running Man thing is Weiss and Yaphet Kotto and Arnold. When they're running, I cared, and Maria Conchita Alonso big time. When they were running, I knew kind of, even with minimal backstory on Yaphet Kotto and Weiss, I actually cared about them, and I kind of wanted them to escape. I didn't really feel like I knew anything about any of those. And the one I actually kind of knew some stuff about, the hero, Paul, was completely unlikable. And I was like, okay, if he died.
Yeah.
Running Man did a much better job of making you root for the protagonist. Am I right, Doctor?
Running Man did a much better job with everything.
That was my next question. Yes. Meanwhile, the Hunter and Wolfman team tracks down Paul, and as Alf pins our hero to a tree, the Hunter begins racing towards them with his killer bulldozer. Only Paul tears off a sharp tree branch and stabs Alf the Wolfman in his yellow eye with it. And then Paul rolls away just as the bulldozer crashes into the Wolfman, pinning him against the tree and chopping the circus freak clean in half. And you actually see his severed waist just plop over, spewing blood like Yak Boy's beer tonight. This is when things start to get really gory. That was kind of the first that tree through the eye, and then this.
Yeah.
From here on, things get really bloody really fast.
But this is my only thing. Like, even with Running Man, this movie does the same thing. I'm like, you literally let people run, and it's not like they're running in a void. I mean, to me, I'm like, the natural instinct is pick up something to make a weapon. Do the classic Shatner over here and make some sort of crude projectile weapon. But they don't do. I mean, doesn't even pick up a stick or a rock. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, Schwarzenegger, Shatner, these are all like, Shatner's an action hero. He was Captain Kirk. These are frightened jewelry store clerks and whores. Like they're
yes, but not
thinking that way.
But not Paul. He's escaped from multiple prisons.
He's essentially a podcaster. Ain't no
so
podcast.
You're saying there's hope for us in this dystopian future. We'll be able to kill the Wolfman.
Futuristic podcaster. Ain't no podcaster going to be making shanks.
No, but I'm at least going to break off a tree limb.
Well, speaking of Paul, he runs off and he stumbles across Chris, who's just about to be killed by Mr. Secretary, that fat bastard. But that guy makes a mistake. Before he kills Chris, he wants to tongue kiss her. Come here, baby.
Oh, he's wanting to do a lot more than that.
Well,
that's nice.
He doesn't get a chance to, Tud, because by him trying to force himself on her, it's a big mistake because it gives Paul time to bum rush him, grab his gun, and shoot the fat dude right in the dick.
Yeah.
He deserved it. Paul and Chris then race off together until their dreams of escape are crushed when they arrive at a beach and they determine that they're on an island.
It's an island. It's an island.
There's no escape. How do you escape an island? Which, had they been to the other side to find a beach?
Just hug the coastline.
It could have just been a coastline. Well, hey, he was a podcaster. I trust his judgment.
Well, he should have made something, and then he said, "We're run along this beach. If we come back around to the stick, then we're on an island."
I was totally waiting for Cody. They should have made a raft. They're in the jungle. They have all this.
They have trees.
Why didn't they make a raft? You could see the other island off in the distance. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Just start swimming.
Actually, Todd, that's a pretty good. I would have made a raft. Doctor, don't put that in my file.
Yeah, insubordination.
Agreed.
I think that would be filed under creativity, which is frowned upon also.
Insubordination. And now look at this, Jax. Churlishness.
Churlishness. The word.
Can we take a quick station break while I look up churlishness? Although I'm going to just go with it. I'm guilty of it. After the buxom Rita foolishly decides to jump in a gentle stream to wash off a bit. Hey now. Hubba hubba. You know what? Yak Boy, are you with me on this? I like those yellow jumpsuits a lot better when they're wet.
Well, they are apparently made of paper.
She's spotted in the water. Who wouldn't spot her in the water? By the crossbow-wielding Jennifer. A chase takes place with lots of explosive arrows fired. Man, these people were back at camp. These rich fuckers were plopping prisoners away without even looking. Out in the field, they can't shoot shit. They're like stormtroopers out here.
It's a moving target, baby. It's tougher.
Until the female hunter finally corners her prey and shoves an arrow down her throat after raping her.
That's what
apparently so.
maybe she kind of alluded to Rita that she was going to do things to her sexually that she had never experienced before. And then the next time we see Rita, she's dead and her yellow jumpsuit's all ripped off.
It's ripped off, man. It's like her leg was broken completely, and that thigh bone was sticking straight out of the hip. It was nasty.
Yeah, I'm thinking that rich bitch did some shit with those arrows, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of clothes coming off, do y'all know why the pilgrims' pants were always falling down?
Why?
Because they wore their buckles on their hats. Okay, I lied to. Is that a doctor? Is that a punishable offense? Lying? I lied to Yax. I said I was done with the jokes. I get a pass there, though. I get a pass. That was funny. I get a pass.
No, do I look like I'm laughing?
I'm not sure I want to work in this camp, but if I could come inside just to watch the punishment, I'll mind my P's and Q's.
Are you saying just to see me get punished?
Well, if you keep telling jokes like that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I actually tied the gas cans on it myself.
Oh, God, you want me to participate in that gas can game?
Oh, you're not participating.
Ruthless. You guys are ruthless sons of bitches. Well,
Teach him to tell those jokes.
the 9-foot-tall Ritter confronts Paul on the beach. And Paul tells Chris to run for it as the men put up their dukes. You're right. He's like that dude from Raiders Lost Ark. He's just
I just like, when I first saw him doing that with the prisoner, I'm like, that's all I thought about. And then literally they're playing that scene out on the beach. I'm like, come on.
Well, the fight on the beach reminded me of the last fight in Silent Rage, the Chuck Norris movie did, because they fight on the beach and then they get thrown into a pond where they try to drown each other, which was just like Silent Rage. But then what happens in a minute is just like the Greco flick we did, Point Doom, where they fight on the beach and then the woman comes in at the last minute to save the day. Ritter tells Paul, I'm going to fuck you up the ass, mate. That's a capital offense.
It is.
Hey, another
example
is do as I say, not as I do. After they brawl a bit, Ritter draws his pistol. It happens in every movie. Bad guy fist fights for a while. When he gets tired, he just pulls out his gun. But before he can shoot Paul, a feeble little Chris, quivering, scared little Chris, grabs Ritter's machete that he had stuck in the sand and lops off both of his hands.
And like I said before, this is the point in the movie where, like, it's supposed to be shocking, but I literally just like, I started laughing.
Dude, it was over the top, but it was a really cool special effect. You see his severed hand, his mechanical robotic
twitching on the trigger.
Yeah.
Twitching on the trigger. You see his other one that like flew like 10 feet away in the sand, still doing stuff. And the guy's just looking at his hands.
Except when he stands up and does that, you can clearly see that his hands are tied down.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Doctor?
Oh my God.
Kate's hands are gone.
She's
Where are my hands going?
No!
How can I smoke cigars with no hands? Things get really nice and juicy and gory here in the final act. Paul and Chris end up killing the hunter in his bulldozer ATV. Not so tough without his little Wolfman sidekick, was he? And they jump behind the wheel and storm the compound, breaking down the fence of the camp. As meek little Chris, dude, they could have at least shot this better. You know that scene in True Lies when Jamie Lee Curtis drops the MAC-10 and it goes down the stairs and kills like 20 terrorists?
Yeah.
He is clearly pointing up at the sky. And then we cut to...
She has like one hand on it. She's trying to hang on to the Jeep. And the gun is like 3 feet higher than she is because she's such a small woman. And I was just like, oh, man.
And
she's firing in an arc. The trajectory, the bullets are raining down upon the bad guys.
And
I think
she's so
Jack's right.
timid throughout the entire movie. She still looks just as timid here. I was just like,
Well, the trained soldiers who've been training for this their whole lives can't shoot anything, but she is just mowing them down like Rambo in Part 4 with that 50 cal. It's funny you mentioned that, Yax. I read a thing. I can't confirm if it's true or not, that Olivia Hussey was very uncomfortable on this entire set because when she got there and had already begun filming, she had apparently said that she didn't want to do any nudity. And then she was put into a situation where they were expecting her to do that shower scene before the rape. And there was like some quote as far as it was one of the most miserable. She's done a lot of shit. She's still doing a lot of. She's a very working actress. I first saw her in Dr. Black Christmas. Hey, that was also Bob Clark, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I think that was the Porky's Christmas Story guy. Did Black Christmas anyway, which was a precursor to Halloween as far as late 70s slasher movies.
Well, she's famous for playing Juliet in Franco Zeffirelli's Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
But apparently this was a very uncomfortable, not fun movie for her to do. So I wonder how much of that just, I don't want to be here, was acting, which it should be because you don't want to be in this camp.
Yeah.
But also just like she didn't want to actually be here.
I read the same thing. I read the breasts in the shower are not hers.
I could have told you that.
Oh yeah, they were really big.
That she did a cut. She didn't want to do that, and so they had somebody else do it. And that also, I don't know where I read this. It could have been IMDb. She was very frightened of being in Australia. She's an English chick, and just was worried about the wildlife and things like that. So yeah, I think she may have actually.
Well, it was by criminals.
That's true. So who knows what they're taught in England as far as what they hear about Australia? I mean, all we hear about is kangaroos and Mel Gibson, which is terrifying enough. But that's true.
Mel Gibson, right? Not the kangaroos.
Both.
Kangaroos are awesome.
They do have a lot of crazy animals in Australia.
Well,
Not
there's
just
that scene.
animals, but I'm a big fan of the shoe as well.
There's that scene with her when she's hiding down in this ditch from Ritter and Mr. Secretary, and she comes across these skeletons of people that have previously tried to escape.
You mean last year's losers?
Last season's winners. And there's this snake coming out of the mouth, and I was like, I kind of wish there had been more, because Australia is known for its wildlife and it's crazy. And this is so out in the middle of nowhere. I was kind of hoping there'd be more of that, like Dodge, that cross-eyed idiot was like stumbling around like a dingo would just jump out and just tear his face off. Or something.
I was about to say, but those nightmare creatures actually kill people. They probably didn't want anything to handle it.
You're right. We'll just go with a Wolfman. Send in the wolf.
A vest on?
Send in the Wolfman. What if we put a little vest on the dingo? Would that work for you? Well, I love that special effect of those hands. Oh, well, get this. Now that the prisoners are somewhat free because they've broken into the camp, they've knocked down the fence with this bulldozer. Well, with the gates destroyed by the bulldozer, the prisoners all arm themselves, and it's time to fight back. At the same time, we watch as a handful of fighter jets take off from a nearby military base with orders to investigate and wipe out. I repeat, wipe out.
Then why investigate?
Do you really need to investigate something if your orders are to wipe out?
Just destroy everything you see.
Yax, I'm gonna, as our relative military expert, what kind of fighter jets were those? Putting you on the spot. Foreign. Okay.
I don't know exactly what kind they were, but there were actually two different aircrafts. There was a B-roll cutaway that was totally not the same plane. there was a variable wing, the kind of like the F-14 can go straight wings or swept back wings. So there was like this long shot of these swept back wings going into position. And then as soon as they get off in the air, they cut to a head-on deal. It's totally a fixed wing. It's like a MiG or a Mirage type airplane. But it was fixed wing, all solid piece. And I was just like, oh, come on, dude.
Resident military expert was the term I was trying to, not our relative military expert. We're not related, are we, X? I hope not.
Gotta know.
Some of the shit we done. Well, it turns out the sexy but evil bitch Jennifer is the one who called in Strike Force 1 to burn the place down. She's making the tough calls that Pussy Thatcher can't find it in himself to do, as that would be admitting failure. And you know what this government feels about failing at your job. They're all about how you do at your job.
But wouldn't it wipe out her?
She calls in it. Yeah, she's hardcore. She calls in this airstrike, even if it takes her out. Oh, and during all the chaos and mayhem, we keep cutting to the countryside with Thatcher driving around in his little derpy red buggy through the
I like that.
grass.
I like that derpy red buggy.
I found it hilarious. Every time there's all this shit going on, and they cut to him driving in this little fucking red golf cart. And I was just, I laughed every time.
I'm going to get you, Mr. Bond.
I'll be there eventually, Mr. Bond, at 3 miles an hour. As
These roads are bumpy and muddy. I can't go too fast.
Don't want to get stuck in the mud, Mr. Bond. As Chris confronts Jennifer in the headquarters by the chess set, they get into a fist fight, and Chris, timid, scared little Chris, jams one of Jennifer's explosive arrows down her own neck, blowing her head off, that was cool.
It was. I enjoyed that.
And we get to see her head literally get blown off her fucking neck. The armed prisoners and remaining guards are engaged in an insane firefight outside. All of a sudden, there's like 1,000 guards and 1,000 like it's a big scale battle going on out there. My God, for such a seemingly small operation, they kept a massive amount of rocket launchers in the armory. Everybody's got a rocket launcher. Everybody's firing missiles. It's crazy. Thatcher
Why
finally
did we stock the armory with 4,000 rifles? This is insanity.
Everybody gets a rocket launcher. Finally, Thatcher arrives back at camp. It took him a while in that stupid little buggy. And he grabs an M16 and rushes to the front of the line to lead his men in battle, only seconds later to have his head shredded off his body by Paul's 50 caliber.
That
was a classic like Scanner's head explosion.
It was.
I loved it.
Ripped.
Not only does his head explode, his chest explodes, his arms explode.
It was so clearly a rubber mannequin that I just laughed my ass off at that.
I always thought my favorite 50 cal death stuff was Rambo 4 when he goes nuts on that 50 cal.
Oh.
But dude, when Thatcher gets it with that 50 cal, that might be my favorite gunshot death ever.
It was right up there.
He is turned into brisket within seconds, and we get to see it all. It's awesome.
And it wasn't like, well, the cool thing was that it wasn't like a pop, everything explodes all at once. You actually, it's like head, shoulder, chest, boom, 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 and just dunk.
Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Eyes and ears, mouth and nose, head, shoulders, knees and toes. They're all destroyed. I've never seen a man destroyed like this on film. It was epic. It was awesome.
I was just waiting to hear the Paul character eat hot lead and like.
That's the thing, though, for this being the epic bad guy Thatcher, there wasn't that moment of like him saying a line, or he just showed up and like, nope. Slaughters the dude.
I mean, the only thing that would have made it better had he literally been like 3 feet away from him, like. Then you would have just expected to explode. But I mean, he's literally like 100 yards away, firing a machine gun at him.
Which, by the way, the owner of this bulldozer RTV with the 50 cal, that well-trained rich hunter guy, remember when he was shooting at Chris as she was escaping, He couldn't hit her with that 50 cal. She was running forever, and he couldn't get a good shot on her. Boom, Thatcher's dead.
That's why he had Alf with him, man. He was just there to smoke his cigars and drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not firing guns. He's letting
relate
Alf
to
do it.
Guns are so uncivilized compared to a wolfman.
Well, that hunter was kind of like me when we all go dove hunting. I let you guys do the dirty work. I just sit there and smoke cigars and stroke my beard. And as the prisoners fall back and retreat into the mountains, the Strike Force 1 fighter jets arrive on the scene and drop a gazillion missiles on the Re-Education and Behavior Modification Center, destroying it completely. Paul and Chris look at the carnage and embrace in a hug as Thatcher's beloved camp burns to the ground. We end with a quote on the screen. Revolution begins with the misfits by famed author H.G. Wells. And that's it. Roll credits, the end. But they're still trapped on that island. They're going to get blown up by the next crew of Strike Force 2, right?
Yeah, it's all love and games until that.
It is, well, if they're on an island, then there has to be a dock, which has to have a boat.
Strike Force 2's jets will be there in 10 minutes, and they're not getting off on any boats.
No, especially when an expeditionary force lands on those beaches.
I think, Doctor, you mentioned that the Thing also came out around this time, which had the ultimate nihilistic ending. I think this is, they were happy just to see Thatcher burn, but they know they're toast. They're not going to make it out of here alive.
Oh no, man!
I don't know what we can infer from it. I mean,
contrast this with the end of the Running Man. At the end of the Running Man, after they kill everybody, Arnold grabs Conchita Alonso. They make out, and everybody's cheering out in the streets, and you feel like this act is going to change the momentum of the nation. I got
that's because in Running Man, they exposed the whole thing as a corporate lie. So
yeah, but
the
whole thing here is there's nothing to expose. Everyone knows the bullshit.
But the wipeout job is
Look,
so
if Chris simply hid the uplink code in her vagina, then all of this could have been avoided.
Do you think
that's the uplink code?
Do you think that's where it was?
It could have been.
Sure, make up lies about me.
I don't know what is even meant to be inferred from it. When you first send in the wipeout group, I think they're going to drop a nuke on the island and just cloud left. They just bomb the facility and then they're driving back. We did it. We wiped them out. So we don't know that anybody is coming. We don't know that the Australian Expeditionary Force is coming. We don't know that wipeout number 2. They might just think we bombed the camp. It's done. So maybe they're going to live in some Blue Lagoon utopia.
I guess there is that chance that no one ever goes there to investigate, and these people just live off the land and are happily ever after.
The guys in the plane are just obeying orders.
No, I don't fault the guys in the plane. I mean,
they did what they had to do.
They're doing their jobs. I get that, but I thought it is a very sad ending because. Yes, you killed the bad guys, but there's going to be way more bad guys coming to kill you. And you're on an island.
Sensibly, I don't think when you watch turkey shoot, you're supposed to make that inference.
I just didn't see how these guys were getting out of there alive. I got the sense that's how the whole world was. Look, it wasn't just how their countries run. The whole world was run by
Paul was going to go back to that burned camp. He was going to find some parts. He was going to make a new radio. And he was going to let all of his followers know that he's back on the air, telling the truth.
That's what you guys would expect from me if shit goes down. I will find a microphone and I will keep the Tuesday Night Cigar Club going. I will keep reviewing cigars and getting drunk and talking about stupid-ass movies.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Paul on the island, and I've got the 45 spinning and the beavers grinning. We are back on the airwaves.
Then Chris comes by. What'd you say about my beaver grin? Oh, sorry, baby. This is radio talk. I guess I just didn't see it as much of a happy ending. Speaking of happy endings, do you fellows know what cigar always leaves me with a smile on my face the moment I'm done with it?
What's that?
The minute I take the final puff yaks, I'm always happy. after smoking the Pappy Van Winkle's Family Reserve Barrel Fermented Cigar by Drew Estate. The Pappy Van Winkle's Family Reserve Barrel Fermented is a long filler premium cigar rolled in limited quantities at La Gran Fabrica Drew Estate in Esteli, Nicaragua. Deep barrel fermentation is the key process that makes this expression vastly different from anything else on the market. Hand-selected leaves from Kentucky are packed into small torquettes, which are then loaded strategically into oak bourbon barrels. Water is then added, while immense pressure is applied to the torquettes via railroad jacks. The tobacco is removed 2-3 times per year, shaken out, then repacked. The total process of fermentation takes 12 to 18 months, leaving a truly unique flavor profile and aroma. The Pappy Van Winkle's Family Reserve Barrel Fermented is now available at brick and mortar Drew Diplomat retailers everywhere. And if you'd like to smoke the unique pig-sized Vitola of the Pappy, head over to pappyco.com, as that's the only place you'll find it. Smoke it. Let us know what you think.
All right.
A couple of things before we never talk about this movie again. I really like the score by Brian May. Not the Brian May of Queen, by the way. This is another Brian May.
I was about to say, I was like, I totally did not get that.
An Australian composer. He also composed the music for at least the first 2 Mad Max films. It's really complex, and I thought it was perfect in the way it mixed traditional instruments and a lot of stuff. But then there was a lot of stuff that was just kind of synthesizer heavy sound design. I thought it was a great score. Every
Wasn't Brian May from Queen?
Yeah, but this is a different Brian May.
No, so this was a different guy. Okay, I thought it was.
Yeah, no.
Maybe that's how he got most of his jobs. Yeah, Brian May.
Yeah,
You're
sure.
not Brian May. I didn't say I was the Brian May. I just said I was a Brian May.
So yeah, I really dug the score. I also thought the Australian countryside where the film was shot was utilized really well, from the high cliffs to the rushing rivers. If you're not going to have a human hunt take place in a somewhat confined area like the Running Man in the Zone, I thought this was a good way to do it in broad daylight under a giant blue fucking open sky. I'm glad they didn't do this at night. Yeah, I thought that was a good way to handle it.
I actually do need to kind of something that I forgot to mention that I wanted to give a little hint out to our listeners. If you ever find yourself in a Running Man situation or in a dangerous game situation, and you're alone on an island and you're running from a bunch of rich people with crossbows that are hunting you, if you come to a big field that is very open, do not go into the middle of the big field, especially if you're standing up in the big field. Go around it, keep to cover, dodge and weave. Don't go out into open spaces.
Good advice.
Dodge and weave.
Also, dirty up your giant yellow suit so you don't stand out in the green, verdant forest. Think Arnold in Predator. Roll in the mud.
They'll never see us in these banana suits.
Or find a banana field to run into.
Dude, the bad guys are looking through their binoculars. Well, I see a couple 5'8" bananas, but no sign of the prisoners. That's all very good advice, Tut Yaks. In case any of our listeners are ever being hunted in a dystopian future, I think you just helped them out a great deal.
Be one with the trees.
My final thought is, while I definitely prefer my beloved Running Man over Turkey Shoot, to me, and I know, Doctor, you mentioned earlier that you didn't think the rest of us would be kind of associating this movie so much with Running Man. There's no denying to me that Running Man potentially took a few things from tonight's film. From Chris discovering that ditch of last year's winners/losers, to especially the one hunter relying solely on his ATV to hunt down his prey, a la Dynamo. I just saw way too many things to where I was like, you know what? The team behind Running Man had to have seen Turkey Shoot and taken a few little things that they thought would be good. Obviously, they took those things and made them better. And obviously, the hunters were characters in the Running Man, where they're just rich assholes in this movie. The the injection of humor into the Running Man, especially via Arnold, who actually has some charisma and some self-awareness that he brings to everything, he's a hero you root for, not this, plank Steve Railsback. But I just saw a lot of similarities between the two, and it made me realize and appreciate what Running Man did to make me like that movie so much more. Whereas this one, I get it. It's a lot more realistic. It's a lot more hard to watch, but I'm glad I saw it. Doctor, you said you saw this movie. You read a magazine article about it 10 years ago or so. And back when Netflix was doing DVDs, you read the article and then you rented the DVD from Netflix. And you said you enjoyed it a lot more this time around.
Very much so. And the first time around, I didn't make any Running Man connections. Definitely, you're right. I mean, thematically, there's things that the writers, producers, so forth could have taken from it. I think it's worth noting that I made no connection the first time I saw this movie, because whatever Running Man thematically took from this, they improved on it so immensely, just from budget, writing, and acting, that it's just, to me, yeah, I get it, but it's apples and oranges really for me.
I thought wanting to talk about Running Man tonight, and I couldn't because, hey, we've done the same beer twice. We can't actually, we've done the same beer like 4 times accidentally. We can't do the same movie twice.
Movies out there.
But I'm glad we did Turkey Shoot. It had some really cool, I think, relevant thoughts politically, and I thought it had some really great gory shit. And then when they dropped that Wolfman in there, it just went off the rails, and that's what makes movies fun.
I mean, I would have never watched this on my own, so I'm glad that this provided me the platform to watch it. I'm always down for dystopian movies, so I'm gonna always try to give a nod that way to begin with. But I thought it was fun. Was it a great movie? No, but it had its couple of moments in there, and I liked watching it.
I honestly think it could have been a lot greater with different actors.
Yeah,
I mean, 82. Can you imagine some of the lead guys they could have dropped in that Paul role other than Steve Railsback? I mean, there were some great fucking B-level actors. I mean, Doctor, you could drop Tom Atkins in there.
Oh, that would be a completely different movie.
Although those shower scenes would have gone a lot differently.
Yeah, he's a little older. I mean,
I just don't like him on screen. I don't know what it is. I just don't find him likable.
I didn't care for Railsback either. I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, if you have a higher production value and you put 1982 Kurt Russell in there, then I mean, yeah, then you're, he probably, like Yax pointed out, there was some very humorous things that weren't meant to be funny.
Yeah.
It didn't really have the heart in it because there was no humor.
Well, what this podcast often does, it makes me watch and think about movies that I would normally maybe watch and just not think about, watch hungover and just gloss over and not really dig into. But I love it when the show makes me watch something and actually give it some thought that I would normally kind of dismiss as just passing time. So I think we did Turkey Shoot justice tonight, boys. And I'm still fucking smoking that Daniel Marshall cigar.
Oh, wow.
Ow.
I don't know. It slowed down
like that.
It slowed down that final third, and that mixture of pencil shavings with the pepper and the cedar and the cream. Man, the final third I think is my favorite portion of this cigar.
Oh, it was fantastic, but I mean, I couldn't stop it. That's one of those things. I didn't have to relight it. It just wouldn't go out. It just kept burning.
Well, it's still going strong for me, and I'm really enjoying it.
It was the oils from the cedar spill. It just kept igniting it, just burning.
Who knows what Daniel put on those cedar spills? He handcrafted those for us personally.
Pure gasoline.
Love that guy. So 3 thumbs up on the cigar?
3 thumbs up.
Yes, very much so.
Like I said, nuanced, and classic, much like the man it was paid tribute to. I like the Happy Camper IPA a lot better than the brew free or die was way too malty for a West Coast IPA for my tastes. But the Happy Camper was nice, and it was very subtle. It played with the cigar very well. Tut hated his beer. We've said enough about that. Doctor, your ale was.
Don't hate it, but unless you're really somebody that just loves an amber ale, I'd steer clear of it. Didn't hate it, but didn't love it either.
And
you hated my beer.
And Yaks, for some reason, you liked that terrible beer.
Exactly. My beer was great, but apparently you just don't want to enjoy it.
Okay. Well, as usual, we are at odds with each other and questioning our loyalties. Much like the
I'm
end
not
of the
questioning my loyalty to you, Doc.
Oh, boy.
Dax, make note of Cade's disloyalty in the ledger. Boy, he's piling up the demerits.
Oh.
When did you get a ledger?
Once again, questioning authority.
Man.
Shit, that was another question.
And not only that, but questioned it really aggressively. Churlishness.
I still have to look up what that word means. Tut.
Yes.
Now it might be a good time to give us some links.
All right. Join us on Twitter at TNCCcast. Hit us up on Instagram at TNCC_podcast. You can join us on Facebook, Tuesday Night Cigar Club. Definitely join us and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tuesday Night Cigar Club there. And by the way, Christmas is coming up. If you want to do a little shopping for your loved ones, family, friends, or favorite podcast personalities, you can go to TuesdayNightCigarClub.com, click on the Amazon banner, and do your shopping from there. Helps keep the lights on around here. Doesn't cost you anything. And if you want to buy some cigars, I know you can't buy the cigar that we had tonight on the show. But if you want to buy some cigars, you can go to TuesdayNightCigarClub.com, click on the famous Smoke Shop banner. It will automatically enter the promo code TNCC20 for you, and anything over $100, you will get $20 off. That's like 20% off.
$20 off. That is 20% off, according to my math. I haven't looked ahead. I don't know if we have one or two more shows this year. I know we have at least one. Hopefully two, but at least one, which will be our Christmas episode, which I'm very excited about. So stay tuned for that. Man, I'm already juiced. I'm ready to talk about it, but we'll save it for next time. Thank you for joining us. We hope you had a good Thanksgiving. We hope you will bear through these kind of strange times and have a good lead up to Christmas. We will meet you before then and deliver you. If you don't get Christmas cheer from anywhere else, you'll get it from us. Our Christmas episode is going to be, and I don't say this often, epic. Fucking epic. So you won't want to miss that. So thanks for spending your Thanksgiving hangover with us. I will say this, as I say at the end of every episode, may the wings of, especially after this movie, Jesus, may the wings of liberty never lose a feather. We will see you in 2 weeks. Hang in there. Sayonara, motherfuckers.
More about the time I time traveled ahead to a dystopian future where there were mass riots, food shortages, violent unrest in the streets, and yet the ladies still stopped in their tracks and stood in awe whenever Keith A. Howell strutted his stuff down the boulevard in a perfectly pressed pair of Bugle Boy slacks. Well, it turns out I didn't time travel at all. All this crazy shit is currently going on right here, right now in 2020. And it seems as if yours truly and his Bugle Boys might just be the only thing that can change the course of history and bring happiness to our great nation once again. Wish me luck, but spoiler alert, I won't need it. In the meantime, To learn more about the cigars enjoyed on tonight's episode, you can visit www.danielmarshallshop.com. For more on O'Brien's Irish Pub, the live music leader in Central Texas, please visit o'brienstemple.com and download their free smartphone app, where you'll find full beer listings including over 40 on tap, menu information, and a calendar of upcoming live events. To listen and purchase music heard on tonight's program, check out www.fritzbeermusic.com. Thank you for listening to the Tuesday Night Cigar Club podcast. This is Keith A. Howell saying until next time, friends, unless we see you sooner at the pub. So keep it smoky, and for God's sake, keep it ballsy as well.